This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the season is now upon us. We have just a few hours before the Knicks are in Memphis to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. And because of that, we are going to do a season preview. We'll take a look back at some stuff from last year. We'll take a look back at the preseason, and then we'll talk about what we expect for the upcoming season. I'm pretty sure we'll have some people joining us soon enough, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing on and popping. Talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is the coaching staff. All right, we're going to take a look back to 2021, 2022, last season. And we're going to remember back to the end of the season when we graded the team. And we're going to talk about some of the decisions that were made last year. And I want to know if you're worried about those same decisions being made this year based on what you've seen in the preseason. And I know the preseason, there's not a lot to go on when you talk about the preseason because you played 4 games against teams that are underwhelming, expected to be underwhelming, right? So there's not a lot to go on. But that's all we have to go on right now as we're looking forward to the 2022-2023 season. So I want to take a look back at the end of the season, look at some of the coaching decisions from last season, and have a discussion about this season. All right, so let's take a look back, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll blow this up so that you can see it a little more clear. All right, and don't worry about the grade. I think we gave them a D for last year. All right, but let's take a look at this now. Some of the criticisms from last year for Tom Thibodeau. He benched Kemba Walker early in the season. All right, I think we all know now that this was a good decision, but he caught some heat for it early in the season. We all agree that there was poor management of Julius Randle, right? Poor management of Julius Randle. You had the whole thumbs down and all of that stuff. Questionable rotations. He played Alec Burks out of position. And people were hot about that. There's no doubt about it. Played RJ in some meaningless minutes and he sprained an ankle. People didn't like that. He played the youth late in the season. People didn't like that. But there were some accomplishments. The youth definitely seemed to have developed. Although he did not, he didn't play the youth as much as maybe he even admitted, they seem to have developed and got better. He stuck with IQ. Think about it. He stuck with IQ despite early poor play. And I think that's even a topic of discussion right now with the way the IQ's been playing so far in the preseason. Then he managed to keep the team interested down the stretch. So there you go. Some coaching decisions from last year that I want to get into right now, ladies and gentlemen. All right, and let's look at the coaching staff, and then we'll talk about some of those decisions. You can see on the screen, Kenny Payne, right? He leaves to coach Louisville. So the coaching staff changes just a little bit. So the 2022-2023 coaching staff is as follows, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau is the head coach. The associate head coach is Johnny Bryant. We talked about this earlier. We went over this. Assistant coach Andy Greer. Assistant coach Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad. Assistant coach Darian Ehrman. Then you have assistant coach and analytics for player development, Dice Yoshimoto. Also coaches that summer league team. You got a two-way liaison, Aaron Brooks. Assistant coach and player development coach, Othello Harrington. You guys remember Othello Harrington. He played for the New York Knicks for a little bit. You got assistant coach of player development, Daniel Brady. Then you have the assistant director of player development, Scott King. And then director video analytics, player development assistant, Ike Ozatan. The Knicks have many, many, many assistant coaches, as you can see. But the main guys that we're worried about with this particular basketball team is Tom Thibodeau, Johnny Bryant, and Rick Brunson. And I think most of us expect that the decision-making is going to be better this season. You know, when we look at the season, here's one of the reasons why I believe the decision-making will be better. Jalen Brunson. And the reason why I say that is because when you have a point guard like Jalen Brunson that you trust and you believe can run the show for you, it changes the way that you coach. Because last season, and even the season before, Tom Thibodeau had to stand on the sidelines and yell out plays, call out plays. Run this, run that, run this, run that. That's what Tom Thibodeau had to do. I just don't think he had, or he felt like he had, the decision maker out there to do otherwise. And if you don't have that decision maker out there to do otherwise, then yeah, you've got to make the calls yourself and hope that the guys can make it happen. This year, you got Jalen Brunson, who can make those decisions out there on the floor. And it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen right away. He can make those decisions, though, out there on the floor. And then Tom Thibodeau, he can speak with associate coach Johnny Bryant. He can talk with Rick Brunson. He can discuss adjustments on the bench a little bit more. Will he do so? That's another question. Tom Thibodeau is, an anxious guy. He likes to get up, walk around, scream, holler, and yell. That's the way that he coaches. I don't know if there's much we can do about that, but let him coach the way that he coaches. It is what it is. But I think he'll have more of an opportunity this season because of Jalen Brunson to use his coaching staff to make adjustments, to talk about adjustments. And that's a big thing in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about those type of coaching decisions. Holding players accountable, that's one that I think we really have to worry about. We've been talking about it already. IQ. Is he going to hold IQ accountable? Is he going to put IQ on the bench when IQ gets ahead of himself or can't control what he's trying to do out there on the floor? Because we know IQ gets in his own game. And when he gets in his own game, it's tough to get him back under wraps. You got to have that vet out there. It's one of the reasons why Derrick Rose is so important. But, when we start to look at some of the stats of the players in the preseason, Derrick Rose played 10.7 minutes per game this preseason. Are those the kind of minutes we can expect from Derrick Rose rolling over into the season? I don't know, but we can expect that Derrick Rose is probably going to get hurt, which means IQ is going to be on the floor manning the ship. Manning the ship, ladies and gentlemen. So you know what IQ is about. You know what IQ is about. And will Tom Thibodeau hold him accountable in those moments? because what we've seen so far, and we just talked about it with last season, he stuck with IQ. It didn't matter how badly IQ shot the ball. He stuck with him because he believes in him, and it's good for a young player to have your coach stick with you. But there does come a point when you got to say enough is enough. We'll see how that goes with Tom Thibodeau. Julius Randle, I think, we all know that last season it was difficult to keep Julius Randle's emotions together. And I don't know how much Tom Thibodeau sat down and had talks with him, but I don't feel like there was that one guy there that could get through to Julius Randle. I do believe that Rick Brunson this season is that guy that can get through to Julius Randle, a little, tough, kind of tough. You know what I mean? Not a dude that Julius Randle's going to mess with, in my opinion. So I think that Rick Brunson is going to have a big impact on this basketball team as well. And, of course, that's a very, very good thing. Because Rick Brunson or Julius Randle needs that kind of person around, in my opinion. The kind of person that's going to help keep him straight. So I don't think we're going to have the same issues with Julius Randle as far as accountability is concerned. I don't think there's anyone else on the team you really have to worry about. Tom Thibodeau's going to hold Obi accountable. You know that. I don't think you even have to worry about him holding Jalen Brunson accountable. Brunson's going to do that by himself. Everybody else on the team, Tom Thibodeau's going to, treat him. He's going to coach him. He's going to hold those guys accountable. I think IQ and Julius Randle are the two guys where there's the most questions about accountability, in my opinion. Now, rotations. I didn't know what to think about the rotations last season. I know a lot of people were upset about Tom Thibodeau's rotations, but he didn't have a lot to work with last year, in my opinion. We can get mad about it and all that kind of stuff, but he didn't have a lot to work with. I feel like he did the best that he can. Obviously, the Knicks have more tools in the tool shed. Tom Thibodeau has more tools in the tool shed. So I think he can. I think he will have better rotations this year. As a matter of fact, when I look in the preseason and I look at the rotations in the preseason, I was satisfied. I was definitely satisfied with those rotations. I would really like to see him continue to bring Julius Randle out of the game with like 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Bring Obi in and let Obi play 8, 9, maybe 10 minutes, depending on how well he's playing, and then bring Julius Randle back. I think that rotation works well. Now, as the preseason wound down, it started to look like Julius Randle wasn't coming out of that first quarter until about 3 minutes left. And then Obi would come in and play, 7, 8 minutes. And then Randle would come back in that second quarter. Is that a sign of things to come? We'll see. I don't know. It could be. It could be. We'll find out tomorrow night. You know what I mean? The Knicks are playing the Memphis Grizzlies, and of course, we're going to have a game preview and break that one down, so make sure you join us there. All right? Make sure you join us. It's going to be refreshing to have a breakdown of a real basketball game. A real basketball game. But I think Tom Thibodeau is going to do well with the rotations this year. Just more tools to work with, more people. The roster is way more versatile this season than it was last year or the season before even. It's just way more versatile. And so that forces Tom Thibodeau to use his rotations, to use his players. You know what I mean? It forces him to do so. If you want to win, that's what you do. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with the rotations. There's going to be questionable moments. That's without a doubt. That's any basketball season. You're going to have questionable moments. But for the most part, I think Tom Thibodeau is going to handle those rotations. All right. And, I think it's going to be good this season. As far as I've seen in the preseason. All right. Some of the things that you see up there, meaningless minutes for RJ, sprains an ankle. That can happen in any situation. So, let's see where that goes from there. But, that's just a look at the coaching and some of the decisions that I would really like to see Tom Thibodeau make this year. You know what I mean? Making sure he's holding Randle and IQ accountable, good rotations, using his coaching staff, using all of the tools that he has in the tool shed. And then in the meantime, the front office looking to see what moves they can make to get better. And I know people like the roster. I like the roster. I love the roster, but I don't think this is a roster that's going to take you to the championship. And of course, that's always going to be the end goal. So you got to look at ways to make the roster better. That's always going to be the priority of the front office. And so they're going to be looking at guys on this roster and figuring out ways that they can make moves. Don't forget that we got some draft picks. The Knicks got some draft picks that they've got to use. If they don't use them, you either got to draft those players or I don't know what you're going to do. Right? So expect something to happen somewhere, even if it's something that tinkers with the end of the bench or cleans up some cap space or does, little moves like you've seen the Knicks do. Little moves that prepare you for a future move, future big move, right? Let's take a look at the official roster. The Knicks did give us the official roster, and I think we all knew what the official roster is, but we'll look at it anyway, just to make sure that you know in case you don't know. All right, so here's the Knicks official roster, ladies and gentlemen. Cam Reddish, and I see people in the chat saying crazy things like scam Reddish and all this kind of stuff. Give the brother some time. We're going to talk about him, but give him, he's going to get his chance. Quentin Grimes isn't playing tomorrow. He's going to get his chance. So give the brother some time to get his feet together or something. I don't know. But you got Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, Miles McBride, Trevor Keels, Derrick Rose, Immanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, Svi McCulloch, Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, Feron Hunt, Jericho Sims, Ryan Arcidiacono, and you got big man down there, Isaiah Hartenstein. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the official 17-man roster for the New York Knicks. All right, Trevor Keels and Feron Hunt are both on two-way deals. So you may see them in the G League. You may see them playing for the New York Knicks, depending on what's going on with the roster. All right, so this is the official 17-man roster of the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's talk about these guys. Let's break them down. We're going to take a look at some of their preseason stats. All right, and then talk about expectations for the regular season. So let's start with Jalen Brunson. And let me fix my little topic down here. There we go. Fix that. Boom. Looking good. Jalen Brunson, ladies and gentlemen, he averaged 17.8 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, and 4.3 assists in the preseason. He shot 49% from the field, 46.2% from three, and he shot 88.2% from the free throw line. Of course, these are not based on good enough minutes, but they're not major minutes, right? For the most part, Jalen Brunson played the first three quarters, but that's about it. So he averaged 20-something minutes per game. Okay, but what do I expect from Jalen Brunson this season? Well, first of all, in 20-something minutes per game, he averaged 17.8 points per game. All right, 3.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists per game. Do I think Jalen Brunson is going to average 20 points per game this season? It's possible. I think it's definitely possible that he does. And let's put it like this. It's been a long time since the Knicks have had a point guard that can actually give you 20 points per game. But Jalen Brunson is going to give you what's needed. All right, if you need him to score 20 points, he'll go out and try to score 20 points. If you need him to just man the ship, he'll go out there and just man the ship. All right, and this is what Tom Thibodeau really does love about Jalen Brunson. And let me give you some more stats about Jalen Brunson. All right, he averaged 26 minutes per game. You can expect that he's probably going to be somewhere around 33 to 35. I mean, it could be more. Tom Thibodeau may really, use this guy a lot. I think anytime the Knicks are in trouble, if Jalen Brunson is not in the game, Tom Thibodeau's putting him in the game. All right? That's just the way that I see it. Jalen Brunson is going to be his go-to guy. And I don't mean go-to guy in the clutch as far as scoring. I mean go-to guy as far as getting things under control. Again, 17.8 points per game on 12.8 shot attempts per game. All right, he shot, again, 49% from the field, 46% from three. And I tell you, I believe that 49% from the field will hold up. I don't know about the 46% from three. So maybe the 49 goes down to 47 or something like that, or 46. I don't know if he's going to shoot 46% from three for the season. All right, but he has one of the highest usage rates on the team, obviously, and he'll continue to have that throughout the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the leader on the Knicks team in usage percentage. Because he's going to be Tom Thibodeau's guy. So when I'm looking at it, man, I do think he can. I don't know if he's going to average 20 a game, because as things settle in, other guys are going to handle the basketball. And we'll take a look at that, as we're breaking down the players. But other guys will handle the basketball. Right now, even though that starting five looks good, people are, kind of ecstatic about the way that they look, there's still some kinks to be worked out. They still got to figure out. They haven't played a tight game down the stretch together. That's going to take some working out, right? The games haven't meant anything yet. So, the question that comes up for me now, when the games start to mean something is, how do guys react under that pressure? There's no pressure at all in the preseason. There's no pressure to win. I like to get a win, but there's no pressure to win. Because if you don't get the win, you just say, it's preseason. And coaches probably say to you, it's preseason. That's kind of the mindset. Hopefully, you have a different mindset and you just want to win and you still feel upset if you lose. But you do understand that you're working things out. So there's a different kind of pressure when the regular season begins. And how do players change when that pressure jumps up at you? Not that there's major pressure, but there's going to be just a little bit more pressure to win, because now it counts. You dig what I'm saying? Now it counts. So I would expect that, the ball, it's going to be in his hands a lot, but other guys are going to get more involved too. That's the way that this offense is going to continue to flow. It seemed like in that starting unit, the offense has flowed well, but in order for it to flow better, guys got to keep touching the basketball. But if these are the type of numbers we can expect from Jalen Brunson, that's beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. It's beautiful. G. Robinson said Brunson is a score-first point guard. He might be. But I also think he's a heady point guard. So I don't think he's just IQ is also a score-first point guard, if you want to say. But with IQ, I don't know if he's actually heady. It's just like, I got the ball, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get mine. You know what I mean? So I don't know if he's actually heady. Jalen Brunson is heady. I think he does realize this player needs a shot. This player, he's looking a little bit disgruntled because he hasn't touched the ball in a while. Let me make sure I get it to him. I think he understands that Mitch needs to catch the ball a little bit just to keep him happy. I think he understands those type of things. I think he's a good player that understands situations and how to capitalize in situations or what to do in certain situations. These are the reasons that Tom Thibodeau trusts him. So I believe, although he is a score-first point guard, he's also very heady. And because of his basketball IQ and his leadership ability and skills, he's going to help this team tremendously. We've already seen it in the preseason. Team looks different, no doubt about it. So what do I expect from Jalen Brunson? Canal Brunson said he expects 26-5 from Jalen Brunson. I could see it happening. I don't know if it's going to be straight up 26-5, but I could see Jalen Brunson averaging 20 points, 6 rebounds, and, well, I don't know about the 6 rebounds. I mean, right now he's only averaging 3.5, and that's in 26 minutes per game. I mean, if he's getting 3.5 in 26 minutes, is he actually going to get another 3 rebounds and 7 more minutes per game? I don't know. Not exactly sure about that. But I understand where you're going with the stats. I think it is possible that he averages 20 points per game for the Knicks. 6 assists, that's possible as well. I still believe Julius Randle might be the assist leader for this team. And I know people don't want to hear that, but I don't think it's going to be in the way that you've seen in the past. And we will, talk about that a little bit in ways that I think Julius Randle is going to get assists for this basketball team. All right, but Jalen Brunson, that's Jalen Brunson. I expect Jalen Brunson to average, I think, somewhere around 18 a game, like you see on the board. 4 rebounds a game, 5 assists, somewhere. So, Canal, we're in the same range. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, what do you expect from Jalen Brunson? I want to see you put it in the chat. And, I'll throw it up on the screen as we're going. And, we'll reach back and talk about it. Let's move on to our next guy, everybody's favorite player on the basketball team, RJ Barrett. Looking at the preseason, RJ's put up some good numbers in the preseason, folks. 19.8 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists. I would like to see the assist numbers go a little bit higher for RJ. But he's, so far in his young career, he hasn't been a big assist guy. And maybe that's the way that he's been used. But he hasn't been a big assist guy. You know what I mean? But I'd like to see those assist numbers go up this season, and maybe they will. But RJ Barrett's averaged 27.5 minutes per game in the preseason. All right. Shot 48% from the field. 50% from the three-point line. Good numbers. Very, very good numbers. I'm not sure those numbers are going to remain throughout the season. Right? That 50% is definitely going to come down. Right? But I will be happy if he's shooting somewhere around 40%. I think most of us would be happy if he's shooting 40% from the three-point line. That corner shot is looking good. Looking really good. I'll say this. We need RJ to start the season well. The first 3 seasons that we've seen him, didn't start well. It took him a little bit of time to warm up. So we really need to see RJ start well. And I think if he does, it's going to give him a big boost in his confidence. And he's going to feel like, yeah, I'm here. You know what I mean? And he'll probably feel like, hey, I started hot. Because, normally he doesn't start well, and then he picks it up later on. And he may feel like now, well, I started hot. I started the season hot. What's going to happen later? Well, I mean, I do have some news for you, RJ. It doesn't always work that way. If that's what if that is what he starts to think, it doesn't always work like that. You may start the season hot and then you dip and hit a rut and then you come back, right? Those are the ups and downs of a basketball season. But, if RJ can jump off to a good start, I think that'll be great. He played 27.5 minutes per game in the preseason. I would expect that RJ is going to, you could probably add another 5 minutes to that count, 5 to 6 minutes to that count. You can see that Tom Thibodeau is using RJ Barrett in a multitude of ways. He plays with the starters. And then when the bench starts to shuffle in, the last two starters to come out is normally, at least in the preseason, was Jalen, Brunson, and RJ Barrett. I would expect that trend to continue. I would expect it to continue. And then what happens, RJ is normally the last starter to come off the floor. And he's out there with Cam Reddish, Immanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein, and he plays with them for a minute or two. Right, so this is giving RJ not only extra minutes on the floor, but a chance to play with a younger group and actually just be the guy out there. Even though Immanuel Quickley, he's always going to have something to say about it. Right, but it gives him the chance to be the guy. And this is where he can, get a couple of extra points, maybe rack up a couple of extra assists. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, it's also a developmental tool. Because when he has those precious minutes with that second unit to be the man, he's learning. Because then in a couple of years, when he is the bona fide guy on this team, if that happens, he's kind of used to it because he played with that group for a while and he understands how to take the mantle and take that leadership role out there. You know what I mean? So these are really, really good numbers for RJ. I especially like that 81.3% from the free throw line. Hopefully that continues. Because if RJ is going to jump his scoring up to, like Jay Williams is saying here, 23 points and 7 rebounds, if he's going to, and shout out to you for everybody who's leaving comments, hopefully a little bit later when I get somebody in here, I can get the phone lines up. But if he's going to average 23 points and 7 rebounds, those extra 4 points, it's not going to come easy. And obviously it can come from more efficient shooting, but it's also going to need to come from those free throws. RJ wasn't very good from the free throw line last season. But if he's going to shoot it at 81%, he'll be very good this season. So what do I expect from RJ? Well, I do think RJ is going to surpass that 20 points per game. Right? I think he'll surpass that 20 points per game. I'm going to give RJ, maybe 22 to 23 points per game. I would agree with that. I would love it if he's able to. He grabbed 6 rebounds in 27.5 minutes per game in the preseason. Obviously, that's the preseason. We played Detroit, Indiana, and Washington. Not the creme de la creme. But if he can average 7 rebounds, that's big time for him. And he's a guard. He's a big guard that can rebound the basketball. He's strong. He's got good fundamentals. We know he can rebound it. It'd be nice to see him make that kind of an effort to rebound the basketball. You need as much rebounding as possible. So I'm going to say, I may agree. 23 points. I don't know if he's, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be 7 rebounds. I'll stick with the 6. 22 to 23 points, 6 rebounds. Hopefully he gets up to about 3.5 assists per game. I think from the field he shoots 46% from 3. I think he goes down to about 38, 39%, which is still very good. Right? From the free throw line, I'm going to say, he's about 78% this year. Something like that. But beyond the minutes, I think that R.J. Barrett is going to take another step forward into being the leader of this basketball team. That's beyond the minutes. I think he's learning the role. I think he's going to learn a lot from Brunson. He's going to learn a lot from Rick Brunson. I think Tom Thibodeau is trusting him as that guy. With the extra minutes that it seems like he's going to give him. With some of the responsibilities that he's going to give him with playing in that second unit every once in a while. And you've seen it some last year. And you see towards the end of last year, the ball was in RJ's hands a lot. Even with Julius Randle on the floor. So I think RJ takes another step in that direction. There's a lot of people asking about and wondering about him making the All-Star team. I'm not really worried about the All-Star team. It's hard. Eastern Conference is stacked with forwards. So it's going to be tough for him to crack that All-Star team. The Knicks would have to be, top 4 in the Eastern Conference, I think, for RJ to crack that All-Star. And then RJ would need to be, averaging 25 and 8 and 5 assists or something like that, shooting incredibly from the field. So I think that's going to be difficult for him, but that's okay. I really don't care too much about it. I mainly care about his output. That's it. Just be all-star level, all-star caliber. You know what I mean? Be all-star caliber. Have the same stats as some of those players, even if you don't make the team, but let it impact winning. Right? That's the key. Impact winning. Win basketball games. Whether or not you make the All-Star team, win basketball games. And I'm not saying that RJ is stuck on making an All-Star team or, he's going to be padding stats or doing crazy things to make the All-Star team. I'm just saying, if he doesn't make it, I'm not disappointed. I'm not mad. Because if he's playing well and it's impacting winning, that's what counts. And eventually, it'll happen for him. If not this season, another season. And then watch out. If the Knicks are playing well and somebody gets hurt, bam, there you go. Gets a chance. That's what happened with KP a few years back. So that's what I want. I want him to impact winning. I would like for him to accomplish his goals. I know that's one of his goals, and I'm all for individual goals because it makes your team better and it makes the player better. But the numbers, the impact on winning, that's what I care about. I also believe his usage rate is going to go up. Early, in the preseason, we've seen a lot of RJ in the corner sometimes, handoff from Julius Randle dribbling down the left side. We did see a couple of handoffs where he went to the right. And the handoffs came from Randle, and then RJ went strong to the right. He finished with the left, but he went strong to the right. I don't care if he finished with the left. Be able to put it on the floor and go strong to the right. We've seen him do it a couple of times. That's big. People are concerned about 3 left-handed players on the floor. But if you can go right, there you go. And of course, we all heard the stories about RJ actually being a right-handed person, but he plays with the left. I think Jalen Brunson is kind of that way as well. There's a story out there, I forgot who told the story, that Jalen Brunson was actually right-handed and his dad taught him how to play with the left. But anyway, looking forward to a big season from R.J. Barrett, ladies and gentlemen. And I think he's going to come through for us. He's going to have a good season this year. Julius Randle is the next guy we're going to talk about. Yeah. Let me get to Donald Cannon's super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Donald. I appreciate it. He said the only way RJ scoring that much is if he gets rid of those bum-ass Pumas and starts wearing Nikes. Then just maybe he might take a step in that direction. Man, Donald, you're bugging because I like Pumas. So, as a matter of fact, I like Pumas and I don't even wear Nike. I wear a lot of different brands of sneakers. I don't wear Nike. I have one pair. And I know people are probably looking at me like I'm crazy right now. I have one pair of Air Max. That's it. Michael Jordan messed me up. Because of Michael Jordan, I never, ever, ever became a Nike fan. And I know that's kind of knuckleheadish, but it is what it is. Anyway, back to Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you guys think. Will Julius Randle's numbers look really different this year? Or will he put up the same stats? In the preseason, 13.3 points per game, 6.8 rebounds per game, and 4.3 assists. He shot 42.9% from the field, shot 27.3% from three, and 78.6% from the free throw line. He only played 23.5 minutes per game in the preseason. We know that's going to go up. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to be as high. I don't think it's going to be as high as it was in previous seasons under Tom Thibodeau. I think he'll be 30, 31. The rest of the minutes going to Obi Toppin. And I know people want more minutes for Obi. Obi played 17 minutes per game last year. People want him up there around 20 or 21. Just not sure that happens yet. I'm just not sure it happens yet. Maybe in the future. I don't think this season. Unless he just really, really comes on. But see, with Obi, he's got to do some other things on the floor. But Julius Randle, 13.3 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. And part of the reason, number one, is shooting. You see in the preseason, he shot 42.9% from the field, 27.3% from three. Those numbers aren't good. You know that. Will they get better? It's hard to say. And here's the reason why. Julius Randle, I think, is going to get more open three-point looks than he's had on this New York Knicks team, ever had on this New York Knicks team. Because there's more people that can penetrate. Jalen, Brunson, RJ Barrett, even Evan Fournier sometimes. They can penetrate. They can collapse the paint. Julius Randle is going to be out on that perimeter. And I know we continue to holler and yell that he needs to get in the paint. But here's the issue, and I talked about it last night on the Queen's Court. Here's the issue. You have Mitchell Robinson, who does not spread the floor. And therein really does, and I'm not mad at Mitchell Robinson for this. I'm just saying, basketball-wise, therein lies the problem with Julius Randle playing in the post as much. Because Mitchell Robinson is going to be lurking around the basket somewhere, whether it be in the dunker spot, inside the paint, waiting for an offensive rebound, somewhere down there, Mitchell Robinson is going to be lurking. Then that's where Julius Randle would need the ball if he's going to post up. It clogs the paint. It does not allow for space. So in order to have space down there and to make room for Mitchell Robinson to grab offensive rebounds or to catch oops, you got to use Randle on the perimeter because he's the better three-point shooter. And he's at least acceptable, and guys are going to respect it. The problem is he's not a great three-point shooter. You see 27.3% in the preseason. And it's, if you go by his history, it's not going to get much better. May get up to 31, 32%. Let's hope. I'm hoping that he can be 34%. 35%, I'd be ecstatic with that. I don't see him getting back to 42% like he did a couple years ago, but I'd be ecstatic with 35%. But it's an issue because I don't think he's going to be a good spot-up shooter. But he's going to get a lot of those spot-up shooting shots. So what does he do? He's got to take them. If he's open, he has to take them. And he can't think about it. But if he's missing them, now what? It's on Tom Thibodeau to figure out a way. Because he's not a good three-point shooter. How can you get Julius Randle inside and capitalize on his ability to score in the post? That's the question for Tom Thibodeau. He's got to figure out an adjustment. I don't know exactly what it is, but he's got to figure something out. Julius Randle only took, in the preseason, I think 10 Julius Randle shot attempts. 10.5 shot attempts per game for Julius Randle. All right, now that's in 23.5 minutes per game. But if you look at the shot attempts, R.J. Barrett, 14, leads the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, 12.8. Immanuel Quickley, obviously, Quickley is going to take a lot of shot attempts. He took 12.5. And that's more than Randle. Randle took 10.5 in the preseason. Does that boil over into the regular season? We'll see. It's not going to be 10.5 shot attempts, but even last year, Julius Randle only took 15 shot attempts per game. I think he probably gets back up to those 15 shot attempts. The question is going to be, where are they coming from? How is Julius Randle finding his shots? Is he breaking down the defense? Is he going to knock down those open three-point shots? It's really something to watch for, I think. I think Tom Thibodeau's got to find some time to get Randle the ball and let him go to work. A few possessions per quarter. If he's out there for 6 minutes in the first quarter, give him 1 or 2 possessions where he's allowed to just go to work. Obviously, we don't want to see it every time down the floor. Then he comes back in the second quarter, give him 1 or 2 possessions to go to work. So hopefully he can get comfortable, and then he's in a rhythm, and then it's going to be easier for him to knock down those open shots when he gets them. I see a couple of people say mid-range. Jay Williams said mid-range. Yeah, if he can learn to, here's the thing. If you're talking about him getting to the high post and, jab, step, boom, that's going to go against what the Knicks are trying to do. I think Randle's got to get or Tom Thibodeau's got to put him in that position as well, and the team does as well, but get him moving towards the basket. I've said it so many times last season. I'll say it again. When Randle's moving towards the basket with speed, with power, there's not a lot of people that's going to step in front of him. There's not a lot of people that's going to stop him from getting to the basket. And I think that will help improve his field goal percentage. Got to find ways to get him inside without it always being a post-up. Now, if you can get him to the line as well. He shot 78.6% from the line, and I think that's about on par with what he shot last year. Maybe he dipped a little bit last year. But Randle can get to the line. And if he knocks down, some free throws, that'll help his points per game, and, it'll negate some of the bad shooting percentage. Now, I think Julius Randle will still be the assist leader on the team. And it's not going to be because he's dominating the basketball. I think it's going to be because Julius Randle is the magnet on the team. Right? Julius Randle is the player that can attract defenses. So because of that, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to penetrate and kick, to create for others, on the move. You've seen it in the preseason, hand off to RJ. If RJ is hitting, bam, he's going to get assists from RJ. A few times throughout the preseason, you've seen him catch the ball off the glass, go coast to coast, penetrate, kick it to RJ or kick it to Brunson. He's got the two-man game with Evan Fournier. So there's going to be opportunities for Julius Randle to get assists out there. You haven't seen too much of a game between Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle. I'm not sure that develops this season either. Neither one of them are great jump shooters. Well, Mitchell Robinson doesn't shoot it at all. And Julius Randle's not a great jump shooter, right? From the mid-range or from the three-point line. So, you got two guys that really can't shoot a jump shot trying to work together through handoffs or pick and rolls. It's not going to work. You got to have one guy that can at least boom, 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 and pull up and be kind of efficient at that pull up. I don't see either one of those guys having that. Well, we know Mitch doesn't have it, and Randle doesn't really have it either. So I don't see those two developing any offensive chemistry together. But RJ and Julius, I think they are. And I think we're going to see more of it. We've seen the handoffs a little bit, and we've seen Julius have the ball in his hand and call RJ's number, to set a down screen or other plays when RJ's on the other side of the floor. So look, I'm looking forward to their chemistry building. And I think that it will. Their chemistry will continue to build. So we'll see how things work out with Julius Randle. It's hard for me to even say what I think his numbers are going to be. I'll just say this, and let me know in the chat what you think his numbers are going to be this season. But he's got to knock down that open three. If he wants his buckets, he's got to knock down that open three. I want to see him continue to play quick and decisive. Don't hesitate. If you're going to shoot it, just shoot it. Don't hesitate. Don't think about it. Just make a decision. You can look back at the tape and decide whether or not it was the right or wrong decision, but in the moment, you cannot think about if it's the right or wrong decision. You just got to make it. Because when you hold it and think about it, you hold up the entire offense. Make a decision and move. Look back at it later. So I want to see him continue to be decisive about what he's doing. Do the other things on the floor. And there are people that say he doesn't do the other things. I disagree. He obviously rebounds the basketball. He obviously gets assists. I think people are also talking about him diving on the floor and those type of things. I don't know if you're going to get that from him, but he does some other things besides score. People say if he's not scoring, what does he do? Well, he gets rebounds and he gets assists. And those are also part of the basketball game. Would you like to see him diving on the floor? I would. I'd like to see all the players doing that type of stuff. You know what I mean? But he's not just a guy that does anything. As a matter of fact, and I'm not coming down on Obi, when you look at Obi's numbers and the amount of minutes that he's played in the season, preseason, you'll see that Obi needs to do some more things out there on the floor. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear that, but I think it's true. And I hope that he does do some more things out there on the floor. So I guess if I had to make a prediction with Randle, I'm going to give him about 17 points a game this season. And maybe next year he bounces back with the points per game. But I'm going to say about 17 points per game. I still think he's going to grab 10 rebounds a game. And I'm going to give him about 6 assists. 6 to 7 assists per game. I think he's going to be the team's assist leader still. Shooting average, man, it's hard to say. I would say maybe he gets up to 44%, 45% from the field. I think the threes maybe go up to 30, 31%. Free throws probably between 75 and 77. But I'm looking at 17, 10, and 6 for Julius Randle. Still very good numbers, in my opinion. D. Colicious says 18, 7, and 5. Trav B. Ryan says 20, 10, and 6. I'm just not sure Randle's going to get up to that 20 points per game this year. I don't know if he can get up to that 20 points per game, man. I don't think he shoots good enough. He's not going to have the ball in his hands as much. Other people creating for him. Now, if somehow, some way, he and Jalen Brunson start to get some pick and roll game going, then maybe you see Julius Randle inch up there. I feel like he's going to be somewhere around 17. And that's cool with me, and I think it might be cool with him. You know? And big shout out to Trav. I want to say thank you for the super chat. He said that Wizards game skewed Randle's three-point percentage. He shot 37% before that. Okay, I'll take that. And obviously it's only 4 games in the preseason, so there are going to be things that are skewed. There definitely will be. So, if he can, but he's going to have games like that throughout the season too. And so that's why I think he'll settle in around 30. I'm hoping he can get to 35. If he can get to 35, I think that'd be really good for Julius Randle. I think it'd be really good for Randle if he can get to 35% from the three-point line. Mitchell Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. Mitchell Robinson has had a solid preseason. And I think there could be some big things to come for Mitchell Robinson. You heard Julius Randle talk about him the other day, and he said Mitch is comfortable with who he is as a player. Right? He's comfortable with who he is. He realizes, hey, I'm a rebounder. I'm a shot blocker. I'm the guy that gets the offensive rebound and puts it back. I run the rim, and that's me. Early in his career, or earlier in his career, still early in his career, he may have been listening to us. Oh, we need this guy to shoot threes. I know I said it. We need this guy to shoot from the mid-range. We want to see Mitch do this and do that. Maybe this year he's just like, this is who I am, like it or not, and I'm going to lean into it. The Knicks gave me this contract understanding who I am. That contract could be a big boost of confidence for Mitchell Robinson. A big boost saying, yeah, this is who I am. This is how I play. And they still gave me this contract. I want to live up to this contract and exceed it. Start angling for my next one. Because if I can average a double-double and protect the rim and be a guy that contends for Defensive Player of the Year, how can you deny that? You can't. You know what I mean? And he's been a defensive demon so far in the preseason. He's coming into this season healthy, right? Last year, he didn't get a chance to really work out during the offseason because he had a broken foot. He was recovering from that. He came in, he put on some weight because he thought he needed that weight to bang around with guys down there. So it took the first half of the season just for him to really get in shape. I think he was scared of his foot. That's why we've seen him fall down a lot. We'll probably still see Mitch fall a lot. He's just that kind of guy. But it took him half the season just to get in shape. You know what I mean? And then we started to see him play better basketball. And to be honest with you, he probably wasn't comfortable with who he was as a player. And he may have just learned, like, you know what, this is me. I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to rock with it. Like it or not, I'm going to do me. And I'm going to be the best me that I can be. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to seeing Mitch average a double-double this year. Block shots. He's always going to shoot 70-something% from the three-point line. And I'm lying to you. He did not shoot 76% from the three-point line. He shot 0% from the three-point line. So please don't get too happy and don't let that gas you up. I'm going to change it right now because I don't want anybody to look at this on a replay or whatever and be like, oh, snap, Mitchell Robinson's shooting threes now. You know what I'm saying? It's over. The Knicks are winning the championship because of that. So I'm going to change it right now before, people start to get crazy. Because, with some of your fly-by-night fans, that can happen. All right, so Mitchell Robinson is shooting 0% from the three-point line. But I'll say this. I do think, and I said it last night on Tony's show, I do think Mitchell Robinson is going to attempt his first ever NBA three-point shot this season. All right? And I think he's going to make it. The first one he shoots, I think he's going to knock it down. I don't think that means he's going to be a three-point shooter and he's going to start shooting them all the time. But I think he's going to attempt his first one this season, and maybe he attempts more, but he's going to attempt his first one, and I think he's going to hit it. I think he's going to hit it. I'll be happy to see it. But Mitch is going to be an intangibles guy for the Knicks, though. He already is. He affects people's shot. You know what I mean? They get into the lane. He's there. They don't want to let it up because they think it's going to get blocked. You see him get some off-ball steals, on-ball steals, right? You see him steal it from Miles Turner. In the first game versus the Detroit Pistons, you see him jump in the passing lanes and get it, dribble it up, bang, get it done. I think we're going to see that from Mitch all season long. He's motivated to be mentioned in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. And I think he's, if he's not going to be it, he's going to be close. It's going to be close. Looking forward to seeing Mitch have a good season. I would like to see, and I'm hoping that he and Jalen Brunson develop some chemistry. And Jalen Brunson is able to find Mitch sealing his player off deep in the paint. All season last year, Mitchell Robinson would seal his guys off, but players wouldn't always find them. Evan Fournier found them here and there. But for the most part, guys did not find Mitchell Robinson. So I would like to see Mitchell Robinson continue to seal his man off deep in the paint, and Jalen Brunson find him from time to time. Give him a little love. Let him touch the ball. That'll keep him energized and motivated, so he doesn't feel like he's just running up and down the court like he's on a track team. You know what I mean? And even though he might accept his role, it doesn't mean he doesn't want to get a touch every now and again. You know what I mean? You got to find a way to get him a touch. And I think more than just an alley-oop. Get him in a spot where he can, he's shown that he can drop step to the basket. Give him a chance to do it. Mitchell Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. Folks, what do you think about Mitchell Robinson? Right? What do you think that Mitchell Robinson is going to average this season? We'll swing back around to him when I see it in the post or in the comment section. We'll swing back around to it. I want to know what you think Mitchell Robinson is going to give the Knicks this season. All right, let's move on to our next player. Let's see who we got coming up next. Oh, boy. Evan Fournier. Ladies and gentlemen. This one is different. 5.7 points per game, 2 rebounds, 3.3 assists. 33% from the field, 30% from the three-point line, and he made all of his free throws in preseason, so he's 100%. I don't know what to expect right now with Evan Fournier. I think Tony said he thinks Evan Fournier is going to come out hot. I think Evan Fournier is still going to be finding his footing. I think one of the reasons, and Evan Fournier has only attempted six shot attempts per game in the preseason. 6 shot attempts per game. And I think one of the reasons is because the focus right now is on building that chemistry between Randle, Brunson, and RJ. The way that Fournier plays, his style of play can almost fit anywhere. He's a shooter. He's going to come off screens. You're going to find him in the corner. You're going to find him spotting up. You're going to catch him in transition, to knock down a three. that's something that not a lot of players can do it. I'm not saying every player can do it, but it's something that's easy to work into your offense. When you got three guys that needs the ball in their hands, it's a little more difficult to work it into the offense. So I think Evan Fournier may start the season a little bit slow offensively. I hope that he says, all right, I'm starting off slow offensively. I got to be on my grind defensively. That's what I hope. We'll see if that really takes place. Because the Knicks' perimeter defense, I thought it was kind of lax over the preseason. And obviously he's in that starting lineup. And now Quentin Grimes is hurt. We don't know what's going on with Quentin Grimes. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't really have any Quentin Grimes numbers to bring up because he only played one preseason game, but we'll talk about Quentin Grimes. But Evan Fournier, is he going to average 5.7 points per game or maybe a little bit higher? I don't know. I mean, is there enough room for him to average his 12 to 14 points per game on this team? I'm hoping that it is. But see, his defensive liabilities keep him off the floor in certain situations, which is obviously going to limit his output. Does he average more than 19.1 points per game? I mean, that's another question because he did this right here, 19.1 points per game, 19.1 minutes per game. Is he going to average more than 19.1 minutes per game this season? Because there's more guys that can shoot. Quentin Grimes can shoot. Hartenstein can shoot. If RJ is knocking down his shot, he can shoot. Derrick Rose can shoot. I mean, Immanuel Quickley can shoot, but his shot selection is terrible, so his field goal percentage is terrible. So it's kind of an enigma right now with Evan Fournier. I do like the fact that he averaged 3.3 assists per game, and maybe that's going to be another role that he plays. I mean, with this entire Knicks team, they're all looking for each other and they're getting assists because they are looking for each other, which is a good thing. When you have a team that's got 26, 27 assists and nobody has over 5 or 6, that's actually pretty good. So I don't know. This is going to be. It's going to, I'm just watching it, paying attention to see how it actually works when it comes to Evan Fournier. I do think he's going to begin the season slow. To let those three guys, the big three, if you want to call it that, the Knicks big three, let them get some rhythm, and then we see Evan Fournier starting to get into the groove with those guys, and everybody figuring out how to play with one another. Part of the reason that Evan Fournier was able to have as much output as he did last season is because he played that two-man game with Julius Randle. There's going to be much less of that this season because of Jalen Brunson. And you don't want to force anything, right? So you don't want to force to say, well, Brunson, you got to develop something with Evan Fournier so we can get him some shots too. We want to utilize what he has. You can't do that. You might try to force it. I mean, listen, you work on it. You see how it goes. But when you get into the game, players are also going to go to who they trust. And those relationships normally develop naturally. And you see who has chemistry together and you see who can work together. Then they figure it out that way. And right now, the only person that Evan Fournier really has chemistry with on the floor is Julius Randle. And that kind of hurts Evan Fournier because Julius Randle's not going to have the ball in his hands as much. So we'll see if he can begin to develop more chemistry with RJ and Brunson. And maybe even some with Mitch. Francisco Carrillo, hopefully, I don't know which one I said, but which one is correct. He said, no purpose for Evan Fournier on our team. I don't agree with that. He said he's good for others, but not for ours. I don't know if I agree with that. I think you got to give it some time for Evan Fournier to get into the fold because he can shoot the basketball. the quickest trigger on the team. No doubt about it. He can shoot the ball. So I think you got to give it time to see if Evan Fournier is going to be able to get in rhythm and start knocking down those shots. Because if Evan Fournier is knocking down threes, it's going to help the Knicks in transition, that first unit in transition, right? Because, in transition now, he spreads the floor. He's floating to the corner or he's floating to the wing. It opens it up for Mitch to, strike down the middle of the lane, or for Julius Randle to strike down the middle of the lane, or for RJ to go coast to coast. It's important. Those three-point shooters are important in running an effective fast break. You know what I mean? And Quentin Grimes is out right now. And we don't know what that injury is or how long it's going to last. All we know is he's out. The Knicks haven't given us much information about Quentin Grimes. D. Coolicious said, hopefully, D. Coolest 718 said, hopefully we get FIBA Fournier. Hopefully. You know what I mean? The preseason hasn't said as much that we will, but it is preseason, and it's hard to go by everything that you see in preseason. And like I said, that RJ, Julius, Jalen trying to find their footing. Jay Williams said he has some chemistry with Mitch. He does. And David L. said Evan can use more chemistry with Mitch for sure. Where does it come? Does it come on a coach? It does. It's the coach's responsibility. It's the coach's responsibility to realize that Evan Fournier and Mitch have some chemistry. That chemistry really comes with Evan Fournier finding Mitch in the deep post. So it is on Tom Thibodeau to figure that out and say, okay, well, how do we exploit that? And how do we use that? So we'll see what it's going to be like for Evan Fournier this season. Again, 5.7 points per game, 2 rebounds, 3.3 assists, in 19 minutes a game, only 6 field goal attempts per game. He shot 33% from the field and 30% from the three-point line. The Knicks will need Evan Fournier, ladies and gentlemen. They will. I truly believe that. Immanuel Quickley, talking about bad shooting. And it really has to do, ladies and gentlemen, with his shot selection. Quickley averaged 12 points per game in the preseason, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 34% from the field and 31.6% from the three-point line, 72.7% from the free throw line for Immanuel Quickley. Even going into at the end of last season, Immanuel Quickley wasn't shooting as well from the three-point line. But folks, it's all about shot attempt. It's all about shot selection with Quickley. Shot selection, decision-making. He's not one of those players, at least not right now, that's going to make lightning-quick decisions. He needs set-up dribbles. He needs to get in rhythm before he makes a move. And with the style of basketball that the Knicks are trying to play, it hurts. Ron from Still Knicks Fans asked the other day on one of the shows, he asked, with Immanuel Quickley, is his problem in the preseason because the Knicks are playing faster, they're making quicker decisions, and he needs time to set up. And I think that's part of the issue. I really do. I think it's part of the issue. So he's got to find his footing. He's got to learn to make quicker decisions. You know what I mean? And he's got to learn to keep the ball moving. Quickley is like, I get the ball, I come up the floor. If I can't find a space or a crevice for me, I'm going to keep dribbling until I do find one, or to try to find one. And then finally decide, well, okay, I'll give it up. Or maybe he decides to just step back and pull a three. There's a lot for Immanuel Quickley to learn. And this is where, in the beginning of the show, we talked about Tom Thibodeau having holding him accountable. See, Tom Thibodeau is in love with Immanuel Quickley. That's his guy. He loves his work ethic. He loves that he's a gym rat. I think he loves just the character of who he is. Immanuel Quickley's a good guy. The energy he brings to the team. I think Immanuel Quickley has that killer mindset. And I think Tom Thibodeau loves that too. So I think he's willing to let him play and work out the kinks because he believes that he has some star-type qualities. You know what I mean? Look, when Immanuel Quickley's on the floor with Derrick Rose, things look very different, though. And maybe this is what Tom Thibodeau is banking on. The issue is that Derrick Rose may not always be there. We know Derrick Rose has injury issues. So you got to find a solution. Because when Derrick Rose isn't out there on the floor, Immanuel Quickley goes for broke. He has that respect for Derrick Rose. It's like a mentor type of thing. You know, but when he's out there with McBride, it's like, okay, I'm the guy now, and I'm going to make the decisions. The problem is that his decision-making is not that good. You know what I mean? He's a young guy learning to play basketball in the NBA. Yeah, that's cool, but, you know, there's got to be some lessons somewhere in there, too, for Immanuel Quickley. Hopefully he can get those shooting percentages up. The Knicks are going to need Immanuel Quickley. Trav B. Ryan said Quickley will be fine. I agree. I do think Quickley will be fine. But as Knicks fans, we're going to have to go through the growing pains with him. I believe that wholeheartedly, 100%. You know, I don't want to say your first name wrong, so I'm going to say Aluya, your last name. He said, IQ has to learn how to run around screens like Corver or J.J. Reddick. I don't know if that's ever going to really be an IQ's game. I think he's a spot up. He can do some spot up shooting. I don't know if he's coming off screens like that. You know what I mean? IQ is more in rhythm, dribbling the ball. Now, he does hit some rhythm when he's spot shooting. He's been able to knock down some shots that way. That'd be interesting to see. Randrock said, oh, where'd it go? Randrock said, if he played the two, then his shooting would be much better. Well, I think that's what happens when Derrick Rose is in the game and why you see Immanuel Quickley play a more fluid, controlled basketball game because Derrick Rose is on the basketball making the decisions and Immanuel Quickley can just play off the ball and when he gets the ball, boom, make a decision, make a move. You know what I'm saying? I think Quickley just has to learn how to play faster. Not play faster. I think that's the wrong words to use. Make quicker decisions. Make sharper decisions. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you get the ball. You got 2 seconds to figure out what you're going to do. I'm either going to shoot it or I'm going to pass it. But don't dribble around trying to find the shot. You know, I think he'll be a better player when that does happen. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to go through the growing pains, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, so I'm just going to say, I think I said this last year too. Just put rubber around your television, put rubber around your remote control. You know, attach your TV to the wall so tightly that you can't pull it off. You dig what I'm saying? Like, just safeguard your house in case you need to throw something. That's all I'm saying because Immanuel Quickley will make you do that. I'm sure he does that with Tom Thibodeau all the time. Make him feel like, you know, I need to throw something because this kid is pissing me off. You know what I'm saying? But that's Immanuel Quickley. And I don't know who I was talking with. Maybe it was Uncle Fulio. Over the past 2 decades, every time the Knicks had a good team, they had a player like Immanuel Quickley. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's just a coincidence. John Starks with those 90s Knicks. He was that kind of guy. He would do some boneheaded stuff, except John Starks would headbutt somebody, though, too. He takes some crazy shots, but he might headbutt you in the mouth, the opposing team's player in the mouth. You know what I mean? J.R. Smith, he was also that kind of guy. He was, obviously all these guys are a little bit different in their style of play. J.R. Smith was super duper athletic, but, he'd have a couple brain farts out there too and drive you crazy and take some wild shots. So maybe you need a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? Who's just a little bit nuts and when they're on the basketball court. So maybe Quickley's that guy for this team. You know what I mean? I don't know. My man Tony Crow's in the building. Let me get Tony Crow up in here. Tony, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's good, Sim? Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I'm glad you was able to come in and join me.
It's been a long day, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? So finishing up. We're about half. I'm just about halfway through. So we still got a lot left. You know what I mean? Still got a lot left to talk about with guys. I'm to Immanuel Quickley. We went through the starting five. We're with Immanuel Quickley now, so we're just getting to the bench. You know what I mean? And broke down some of the preseason numbers and things like that. Real quick before we move on to the next guy, your thoughts on Quickley. Listen, 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 34% from the field, 31.6% from three, and 72.7% from the free throw line. Your thoughts on what Quickley needs to do this season, and then we'll finish it off by just getting your prediction on what he will do.
Well, what he needs to do, it's like I'm torn. You know what I mean? Some days I'm like, just let Quickley be Quickley, and because you're gonna get the good with the bad, and you gotta take the good with the bad. And then sometimes, like you just was saying, I want to throw something. He's taking these crazy shots. But I'll say this: Tibbs seems to be confident in him, and I trust Tibbs. Even when Tibbs talked about him in one of these recent press conferences, he said he's not worried about the shot. He's gonna start hitting them. So, and that's the main thing, because even when he's hitting them, he'll take the same type of shot, and I won't be mad if it goes in. You know what I mean? So, I think there's a lot of things with him. He's a gym rat. He works hard. He's improved year to year to year, right? So for the most part, I'm like, let's let him rock. Let's see how he matures, because we've seen the defense improve. You know what I mean? The only thing that kind of stayed the same is the inconsistency or the shot selection. You know what I mean? Those things. But every aspect of his game, he's gotten better in. Facilitating, distributing, whatever. You know what I mean? Defense. He's working on his body. He's obviously stronger. You know what I mean? So I say let him rock, and let's see where he ends up. You know what I mean? This is what, year 3?
This is year 3. Yeah, this is year 3. Yeah, let's see. Let's see where he ends up this year, man. Hopefully he's not on the bench, but let's see where he ends up. I don't think that's going to happen. He's in that circle of trust we always talk about with Tom Thibodeau. The next guy, ladies and gentlemen, is Obi Toppin. And I've seen people in the chat when we were talking about Julius Randle, put him on the bench, let Obi play this, that, and the third. And for Uncle Fulio, Uncle Fulio said that Obi Toppin is becoming a, what'd he say? What was the words that he said? Prolific three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Prolific. Well, okay, let's talk about the stats. 11 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists per game. He shot 53.8% from the field. And prolifically, very prolifically, he shot 23.5% from the three-point line. And 0% from the free throw line, but I'm not sure he even attempted a free throw Let me see. Obi Toppin. No, he didn't attempt any free throws in the preseason. All right. But yes, very prolifically, he shot 23.5% from the three-point line, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Fulio, talk to me if you're out there. Anyway, what do I think with Obi? One, I think Obi needs to do more on the floor. I'm starting to see that, though, right? I'm starting to see that he's using his athleticism to affect shots. You know what I mean? Off the ball. He's seeing this guy is going to the basket. Oh, this is my rotation that I can make. Let me get up there and use my ability to jump to affect the shot. He wasn't always doing that. And I think that's big because although he's 6'8", his ability, he can get so high, he can still make guys have to shoot way over top of him. And if you know you got a guy like Obi flying towards you to block your shot, you may change the way that you shoot the basketball. He can really be effective in that manner, and we've seen him do it during the preseason. I want to see Obi get more rebounds. And I know I'm going to see some people say, well, he needs the minutes to do so. But let me ask those who say that, let me ask you this. Obi played 20 minutes per game in the preseason, right? Because people are always going to compare him to Randle. He played 20 minutes per game, 20.7 minutes. Julius Randle played 23.5, right? Now, he averaged 3.8 rebounds. So are you telling me if he would have played 3 more minutes that he would have grabbed 3 more rebounds? I don't think so. He grabbed 3.8 in 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, he grabbed 3.8. You telling me he's going to grab 3 more in 3 more minutes? No. I think Obi should make part of it is he likes to leak out. Right? So, other people are grabbing the rebound and he's leaking out. I do think that's part of it. And Tom Thibodeau is happy with that because it does put pressure on the defense. It sends less people to the offensive glass, talking about the opposing team. It sends less people to the offensive glass. But if you're talking about him being a starting power forward in this league, you got to get more rebounds than that, in my opinion. Some of that leaking out has to stop. You can still do it, but you're going to need him on the glass because now you're talking about a guy that's going to get 30 to 33 minutes a game. You need him on the glass to help you grab boards and be effective grabbing boards in traffic, not just off the foul shot. So I'd like to see him do that. I don't think he's going to be much of an assist guy in his career. Because he's basically a guy that receives the ball and he doesn't have the ball in his hands a lot. So the defense or the offense isn't rotating around Obi. And I don't think it'll ever be that way. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But those 2 areas, affecting shots, which I think he's doing, and rebounding are 2 things that I think Obi needs to do to help him stay on the basketball court, to impact winning. You know what I mean? And then, of course, it's going to add to his stat line, and show that, yeah, I do more than just dunk the basketball. You know what I mean? Because if you look at his field goal percentage, people will say, well, he's shooting 53.8% from the field. But a lot of that is because he catches leak outs. He's catching alley-oops. You know what I mean? But his three-point percentage is prolifically 23.5. You know what I mean? And, so I'd like to see a little bit more in those other departments from Obi. And I think we will, though. Tony, what's your thoughts, man?
I think the leak outs is a big part of it. I think he's showing improvement rebounding the ball in general when he's down there. You know what I mean? But I think it's a fine line of when he's down there. So I think you made a good point. It's up to the coach, really. You know what I mean? And who he's on the floor with, and what the strategy is. Like maybe the strategy is for him to leak out. Maybe some of the wings are boxing out a little bit more. But I think that's the main reason why, because when he's down in the paint, I think he's shown improvement in that area. You know what I mean? Not as much as I think Mitch has, but I think he's shown improvement in that area. So I think it's because he's not down there most of the time. Most of the time he's, you know what I mean, he's trying to get that fast break. But that's also something I think we should look at. You know what I mean? When is he down there? Is he down there when his man is in the paint, or you know what I mean? Like when is he doing these leak outs, and when isn't he? Because I don't think he leaks all the time.
Now, I think he leaks out. See, I think he leaks out when he's around the perimeter, right? When he's around the perimeter. But then that begs the question, if he's around the perimeter, would he have been down there for a rebound anyway?
And that's what I mean.
You know, right. I guess I'll say this. If you don't leak out, there's always a chance that you can crash hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But maybe this is something that Tom Thibodeau wants to do, because he's not the starting power forward. And he comes off the bench. And, you know, he knows he's not going to play 33 minutes a night anyway. He's going to play 17, 18, 19. And this is a way that he can really affect the game. You know what I mean? So I think in the position that he's in, rotation-wise, I guess he can continue to do it. But if Julius is out and he becomes a starter, he may need to do it less. He may need to know that he's got to be down there to help rebound the ball.
And oh man, what was I gonna say? It also, because we're not a bad rebounding team, right?
Right.
So if we were, I think then it would be more detrimental. Like yo, we need you to rebound. But because we're a good rebounding team, I do think it's part of the scheme. It's part of the way this team functions. Because even in the second unit, I mean, we'll get to it with Hartenstein, but I think he was averaging like 8 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So is we're still getting the boards. So I don't know if it's such a problem at this moment, but like you said, if Julius is out of the game and he's got to start, now we're gonna need you to modify to your new position, to your new role.
Yeah. And let me ask you, with Obi, and of course I want to know, chat, what you think. I'm opening the phone lines. All right, so you can go ahead and give us a call, 516-362-5212. If you're still up and you want to talk Knicks, give a call. All right, we still got some people to get through. He averaged 20.5 minutes per game in the preseason. Do you see those numbers boiling over to the regular season? Is he going to average 20.5 minutes per game?
I think it might be 19.5, 20.5 maybe. You know what I mean? And it's going to be in that range. It'll probably fluctuate, but it'll probably average about to that, 20 minutes.
Okay. All right. What do you see him averaging?
Overall, I'll give him 12 and a half.
Okay. All right.
I'll give him 12 and a half.
Okay. 12 and a half points. I could I don't know what just happened. I don't know what that sound I don't know what just happened. Messed me up though. And it's doing it again. So let me see if can I mute something. One of my sound effects is going off. And maybe there's a ghost in my house right now. I don't know. Because one of my sound effects is going off and I'm not touching it. It just decided to go off. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see something snatch me, I guess Tony will just take over the rest of the show. All right.
Put the pressure on me. Yeah, I'm gonna be bugging out too. Like, yo.
I don't know what just happened, man. See, look at that. I don't even know where I was at. What was I saying?
OB, I said 15. I said 12.5 a game.
Okay, 12.5 points per game for Obi. I think that would be cool for Obi. At least for my sake, get up to 4.5 rebounds per game. You know what I mean? Get up to 4.5. Overall, though, the biggest thing I want to see from Obi is confidence. Just play with confidence. You know what I'm saying?
And we've seen that.
We've seen it. We've seen it throughout the preseason. If you shoot and miss, just shoot and miss and get back and play defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he's talked about it. He said, I've taught myself not to look at the bench. I think they asked him about when he went between the legs and dunked. Mm-hmm. And they asked him, did you look at Tom Thibodeau or whatever? And I taught myself not to. You know what I'm saying? And that's good. Don't look at Tom Thibodeau because you may do something and Tom Thibodeau looks mad and now you're down on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you're worried about, are you coming out? Just ball. If you come out, you come out, but just ball. And I think if he plays that way, you're going to see him take more chances. I think he's been afraid to take chances. You know what I'm saying? And the less he's afraid to take chances, I think the better you're going to see Obi play, defensively and offensively.
I was gonna say that's a big step in itself. You know what I mean? Going for that dunk in game. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily like on a fast break. Like you on a fast break, but there's a defender. You know what I mean? Granted, he said he didn't see the guy, but you know what I mean? Like you don't do that with Pops. I would have thought you wouldn't do it with Tibbs either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So. But it's maybe something he's learning from Quick. Like, you know what I mean? Be yourself and be who you are. You know what I mean? And then live with the results. You know what I mean? Don't tone it down or modify it.
Yeah. Just play your game and be, whatever you end up being, just be that and lean into it. But develop your game. You know what I'm saying? Grow and develop your basketball game. He's got to shoot better than 23.5% from three. Him and Julius Randle. Julius Randle shooting 27.5. He's shooting 23.5. They both got to shoot better from the three-point line because they're both going to get open three-pointers. They got to shoot better from it, man. The good thing about the second unit is Hartenstein can shoot. So it does help to spread the floor. But his numbers haven't been great from the three-point line in the preseason either. All right? But it does help that he can be a threat. So it opens that floor up a little bit more. But from Obi, if he can give us 13 and 5, I think that'd be really, really good. And with the way the second unit plays and the leak outs from Obi and things, I think you can see him get that. Will he continue to shoot 53% from the field? I think so, because a lot of his shots are going to be dunks. But he's got to pick up that field goal percentage, that 3-point field goal percentage. You know what I mean? And then I don't know if I'm too worried about him getting to the line or not. You know what I mean? Because he's not going to be the kind of guy that's out there, and I don't think he's going to be out there in clutch situations at this moment. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Obi Toppin. Again, call in 516-362-5212. I want to know what you're thinking about these guys as well. All right, let's move on to our next player. And hopefully we don't get any more mysterious sounds. The next guy on the list is Cam Reddish. Ladies and gentlemen. And Tony, I hate to say it, man, but his numbers have not looked good. But he's going to get his chance because Quentin Grimes is not playing tomorrow. It's solidified. He's not going to play. He's going to be out. G-Mo is talking up some stuff and talking up surgery. He tweeted out, watch he get surgery. He doesn't know anything. He just tweeted it out. And I'm like, come on, man, you talking it up. What's going on? But Cam Reddish, ladies and gentlemen, 4.3 points per game, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, He shot 21.4% from the field. He shot 16.7% from the three-point line and 75% from the free throw line. He averaged 15.8 minutes per game. And I know it's limited minutes for Cam, 15.8 minutes. But he did have 7 shot attempts per game, right? And as a matter of fact, those 7 shot attempts is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on the team in shot attempts. RJ Barrett with 14, Jalen Brunson with 12.8, Immanuel Quickley with 12.5, Julius Randle with 10.5, Obi Toppin 9.8, and then Cam Reddish at 7. It's really those percentages. Those are rough percentages, and I'm hoping that it's because he's figuring out where he fits. He's figuring it out, and maybe it's difficult for him to understand it. And you're also playing out there with Immanuel Quickley, right? People talked about him playing with, right? We talked about him playing with Trae Young, and that Trae Young has the ball in his hands. The thing about Trae Young is he's pretty much decisive. You know what I mean? He's going to take a little bit more dribbles, but he knows where he's going. I don't think Quickley always knows where he's going, but I don't want to roll back to Quickley. But I think part of it is
indecisiveness.
But with Cam Reddish, though, I think part of it is, indecisiveness, right? Because he's not sure where to go or what to do. But he's playing with Quickley, who's going to dominate the basketball. So now he's just kind of on the wing. And then if he does get a chance, he's got to figure out how to create. But I don't think he's playing with confidence, though. You know what I mean? In training,
and it's not confidence in himself. It's confidence in knowing what to do.
Yeah,
or
I
knowing,
agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. And yeah, so he's not playing with confidence. I think he does know that he has skill. He's just got to play out there. I think it's the Obi thing again. Just play free.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's just playing free. Just play free. Play your basketball game and let the chips fall where they may. I think that's what he's got to do. Because Tom Thibodeau is kind of a numbers guy. He looks both ways, but if he's looking at 21.4%, 16.7%, in the back of his mind, he's probably like, can this guy really shoot and get it done? But also he knows that guys can, he says it all the time, you can play good basketball without shooting well. And so what Cam needs to do while he's going through this offensive rut, and because it seems like he may be getting playing time for a little while. I'm not confident with Quentin Grimes right now. He's got to do those other things on the floor. He's got to play tough defense, get some off-ball steals, dive on the floor for loose balls. He's got to do those type of things to make Coach Thibodeau say, okay, all right, I like this.
You took the words right out of my mouth, son. And that's what I've been saying. Like, find your niche. Because if you're doing something well and you're affecting the game, then he could overlook you trying to find your rhythm offensively. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be solid somewhere. You can't just be, you know what I mean, one moment here on the defensive end, you know what I mean, but 5 minutes pass and now you got one moment here on the offensive game. But in the meantime, you 0 for 4, 0 for 5, you know what I mean? But I'm still confident in, or let me say this, Cam's still my guy, but he's blowing opportunity after opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's he's got to figure it out.
He's got to figure it out.
Yeah. But I think he's got a good group around him of people that, you know what I mean, could walk him through it, kind of, you know what I mean, tell him, I've been here, I understand, you know what I mean.
Right. Jay Williams said, but if he does, talking about diving on the floor for loose balls and things like that, he'll get hurt. I mean, listen, he just got to do it, man. His career depends on it. his career depends on it. I'm pretty sure there'll be other people that would, take a chance on Cam because he's mad talented. You know what I mean? But, if he wants to prove that he belongs in his league, he's got to do something because right now it's a struggle for him. You know what I mean? It's a struggle for him. I think he's he's just got to ball, man. Just ball out. Don't worry about anything else. Just hoop hard.
The crazy thing is, I feel like last year they should have put him in the G League. I think it would have been good for him now. Like now, I think it's too, it's too late. You in the contract situation,
Right.
but coming in knowing that you wasn't gonna get playing time, it could have been like, yo, go down here, get your reps and be ready. But right now we don't, we don't know when we gonna, because he had to wait like a good 5 games or something before he even saw the floor. You know what I mean? I would have put him in the G League last year.
Yeah.
Humbled you real quick. You know what I mean? Still get your little opportunity, but I don't know. Still my guy though.
I felt last year when he came in last year and finally started playing, it felt like he was more comfortable right off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just played basketball.
That's a fact.
And now this season, it's like he's not sure what he's supposed to be doing.
I mean, even you know what it is though? Maybe the comfortability last year was him knowing, all right, I just gotta play my role, see where my opportunity, comes in. If you're in the mindset of I can figure it out in this half a year, and then the half a year gets cut short, and now you like contract year, boom. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, trade talks. I don't know if he's reading the comments or whatever. You know what I mean? It could be all that added up.
Right.
To this moment. Like this moment is different from last year.
Right.
Last year, he didn't know he was gonna not finish the end of the season. You know what I mean? And get hurt, and you know what I mean. So that changes things.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. It changes things big time. What do you expect from Cam this year?
I think he's gonna get an opportunity on even without Grimes being out. I thought he was still gonna get an opportunity. I don't think he's gonna start. So I think he'll figure it out. I think he'll figure it out. I said within 20 games. It might be faster with this opportunity now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now it's real time. You know what I mean? I think he'll figure it out, to be honest. Or I mean, I think it'll be figured out in 20 games. Let's say that. So whether
right.
You know what I mean? Whether it's him figuring it out or you know what I mean, the situation is figured out. We'll know within 20 games.
Yeah. If somehow, I don't want to say if he turns it on and starts hooping over these however many games that Grimes is not here, how do you think that's going to impact Quentin Grimes when he does come back? Or does it impact him at all?
Him personally?
Not personally. I'm speaking playing time.
Or just like
playing time.
I think again, the same way I was thinking Cam was gonna get minutes, even if Grimes was playing in some form or fashion. I think it'll be the same thing. I think he'll get his opportunity, but here's the thing: if Cam is balling and it's 5 games in, Grimes is not gonna just take time away from him. He'll get, he'll get his opportunity, but it's gonna be monitored tighter. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be an immediate switch. Like, because I think Tibbs don't like messing up chemistry. So if it looks like a chemistry thing, he ain't he you know what I mean? He'll get his opportunity. We've seen it. We've seen it. Yeah, last year. You know what I mean? People play well, um, get hurt, kind of they don't come right back into that situation. Unless you one of the top 3 guys,
Right.
you don't just come right back into that situation. You kind of gotta see where you are.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he takes his time with that.
Yes, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? He takes his time with it. What I think for Cam this year, it's tough, but I'm gonna say that in this time that Cam has, I'm not sure if I don't know if mentally he's ready to take the spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not sure he's mentally ready to do so because he's trying to figure out how to play with this team in this group and how he fits in and what skill set to use to fit in and then start to expand his role. I don't think he knows where to start right now. And I don't know if he's being told where to start. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he capitalizes on this moment. Not that he doesn't have the ability to. I just don't think the mindset and the confidence basketball-wise is there right now. That's what I'm concerned about with Cam. I think he's going to get more chances, though, because there's, Derrick Rose will be out. There'll be people out, and he'll get some chances for as long as he's still with the New York Knicks.
I think he figures it out, son. I really do. Like at this point, you gotta look at this as a sign. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to put it like myself in that position. You know what I mean? Like, all right, you had all this opportunity in the preseason, right? Boom, boom, boom. Messed that up, whatever. But I'm sure he didn't know immediately, like Grimes' situation. So he had to felt like, oh, Grimes is back. Boom, I moved back. We seen the practice. You know what I mean? Grimes had the blue practice jersey.
Yeah.
He started the game prior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to know, like, all right, you know the pecking order, but now you getting another opportunity come first game. Like,
right.
I mean, I gotta look at that as a sign, like a sign, like, you know what I mean, like.
I just don't.
Knowing where you started from in,
right.
like from the trade.
Right. I just
So
don't know if
it's not a sign, then I would think the only way I would say it's not I wouldn't feel like it's a sign is if there is a communication and they are telling you this is what we need from you. This is what we like from
right.
you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Otherwise, I'm like, yo, it's a sign.
I mean, it's definitely a sign. It's a sign like, yo, let me get it in gear. Clearly a sign. I just don't know if Cam has the kind of mindset that says where he's going to say, I don't care what nobody says. I'm just going to do what I do. I'm going to hoop. If I get benched, I get benched. If I get minutes, great. But I'm going to hoop. I don't know if he has that mindset. You know what I'm saying? I feel like while he's more confident in himself as a player than Obi, I feel like, the same way with Obi. You know what I mean? Obi didn't want to ruffle feathers or make mistakes or do things like that. And I kind of feel like it's like that with Cam too. You know what I mean? And
I agree.
And so that's why I'm like, I don't know if he has the mindset to do it right now. We will see. I hope he comes out tomorrow and has a crazy game and is cooking, for the all night that he's on the floor.
I ain't even gonna lie. I hope he gets the opportunity to guard Ja.
Yeah.
I mean, we might need that length.
you might. We might. Ryan Rock said, should we give Cam an extension? I would give him an extension. I don't know how much it would be. well, let me not say extension. I think that time has passed already for him to get an extension. So not an extension. I would re-sign him. All right. I'm not sure how much it would be. It would be based on his performance this season and things like that. It wouldn't be any crazy contract, obviously. You know what I mean? I think the question would be, though, will Cam want to re-sign with the Knicks? I would re-sign him because I think he's talented. And, you got players that, have some injury history. Derrick Rose is not always going to be here. You know what I mean? So when Derrick Rose moves on, now you got a battle between McBride and Cam, maybe, on who's going to take that spot. Evan Fournier could be moved, and then either Grimes or Cam could move into that starting spot. So you have some vets that could eventually move on. Yeah, I think he's got talent. The kid is talented. Can he figure it out? That's another question, but he's talented. So if I could get him on a nice contract, I would get him on a nice contract and then hope that when someone moves into, Fournier or Derrick Rose move on, we got talent to move into those spots. You know what I'm saying? But will Cam want to sign with the Knicks?
So Francisco Carlillo said give him a contract with incentives. I agree with that. And then Jay Will, and obviously, like, we harped on that whole RJ thing. RJ got a incentive based contract that was lower than most people's starting point on what they wanted to re-sign him for. You know what I mean? So who's to say we can't do the same with Cam? And then Jay Will says, sorry, he's gonna walk. And I don't know if that's a fact either, for the simple fact that he has to know that he didn't deserve an extension from us at this point. You know what I mean? Like, so I think at the very least we have just as good a shot as anyone else of re-signing him, if that's what we want to do.
I agree. I think he probably does understand that, but there may be a team out there where he knows
more opportunity.
He's going to get the opportunity.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I obviously, yeah, that makes sense. But without saying he's gonna walk and go here, I think that's just you know what I mean, a blanket statement.
Yeah, I think him and his agent are definitely going to look for a spot where he can play. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But who's to say he's not playing here? That's what I mean.
Well, I mean, yeah. If he's playing this season, or it looks like next season, there's some movement this year, and now there's a nice snug fit for Cam, then yeah, definitely. But if not, I think the first thing they're gonna look at is where can Cam play. You know what I mean? And then if they can't find a place and say, okay, well, maybe we stay here, we'll see what kind of movement is happening. But it's definitely worth watching throughout the season, with what happens with Cam Reddish. Definitely worth watching. Next player up to bat, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Derrick Rose. 10.7 minutes per game in the preseason. 4.7 points, 1 rebound, 1.7 assists. He also shot, well, I think he shot better than that. I think maybe it didn't get updated. I don't know. I have to check, see exactly what Derrick Rose shot. Then I'll make the updates. Derrick Rose shot 40% from the field and 33% from three. So let me update that right now. Tony, as I'm updating this, what are your thoughts on Derrick Rose right now with the New York Knicks and what his role is going to be?
He's gonna get some minutes. I know that. Let's see. If Brunson gets 33, what I could see Rose getting about 15 minutes, 14, 15 minutes. I mean, we're gonna need him in that second unit until someone else is able to control the second unit and kind of keep them balanced, keep them on the right track. So we need them. I don't necessarily want them playing over 15 minutes. Um, until it's meaningful games that are position position threats or even the playoffs.
Right. It's really hard. And caller, I'm going to get to you in just a second. Please be patient. Man, it's tough figuring out what Derrick Rose's role is going to be with this team. Because of his injury history, you have to prepare other people. You have to. You know what I mean? And because he's got a definite injury history. So McBride's got to be ready. I think he gets more than 10.7 minutes per game, obviously. You know what I mean? The thing, and Uncle Fulio was like, one preseason game and he already has to rest and stuff like that. The thing is, Derrick Rose been around a while. The preseason doesn't mean as much to his preparation. Playing in the preseason doesn't mean as much to his preparation as it does to a younger player like a McBride or a Grimes or a Cam or RJ. You know what I'm saying? He knows what it's about. You know what I'm saying? Obviously he needs to be in shape and be ready to play game time minutes. So if Tom Thibodeau feels, hey, just go ahead and rest your body, we're trying to preserve you, then that's probably the right call. And it may have just been a way to see some other people play too. It's the preseason. That's what you do a lot of times.
And just because you have a rest day doesn't mean you need a rest day.
Exactly.
It's precautionary. You know what I mean? It's respect. You know what I mean? Like you said, you may want to give some guys an opportunity, knowing this is their last shot to maybe get seen by another team or whatever. I mean, it's a bunch of reasons.
A lot of things can go into it. I think Derrick Rose is going to play the Taj Gibson role, though. It's crazy. I've been up and down. At first, before the season started, or before the training camp started, I thought Derrick Rose was going to be situational, right? Then, when they started training camp, Tom Thibodeau's talking about Derrick Rose, calling Derrick Rose over the summer and make sure you're in shape and this, that, and the third. Hear Derrick Rose talk about, I still want to play too. Like, yeah, Derrick Rose is going to get some minutes. But then when the preseason started, we seen the way things went down. Not that anything crazy went down, but we seen the amount of minutes that he got, and McBride played more minutes than Derrick Rose. I started feeling like, well, maybe he's going to play that Taj Gibson role, and maybe he's kind of in between situational and being straight up in the roster. So like he's in the rotation, but for a limited number of minutes. Like you're saying. So we'll see where it goes. The Knicks are going to need Derrick Rose, no, without a doubt. I seen somebody the other day say something about, Tony, you told me, someone from Chicago say something about Derrick, I don't know.
Get Derrick Rose,
get Derrick Rose off the Knicks or something like that.
Off this bum team, because the way we podcasters and my show particularly, where we was talking about him. But everything I say about Rose, it's all about, the midway point and the ending stretch of the season and the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like I value him probably more than anybody else on the team. The problem is I want him there when we need him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
He's got to be there. You know what I mean? I think Derrick Rose understands it. He's learning more and better how to take care of his body and what he needs to do. And I think he will be there when the Knicks need him. I think Derrick Rose is going to be there this year because they're going to help him maintain his body. He's going to get the proper rest or the rest that his body needs, and because of that, obviously he's not going to average 15 points a game, 12 to 15 points a game. It's probably going to be 8, 9 points per game, 2, 3 rebounds, 2 or 3 assists. That's cool. We need his brain. We need his wisdom, right? And then when the time comes, perform when he's out there on the floor. What kind of numbers do you think Derrick Rose gets this year? And more than numbers, just his impact on the team.
If he's averaging 15 minutes, I think he could score 10 points in 15 minutes. So I'll give him double digits, 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds.
Okay. All right. JC said, why would he be situational? Why? I don't know what he did to the Knicks other than thrive in his role without complaining. It's not that he did anything to the Knicks or did anything bad with the players. It's just about having his body and then having some young guys, that need to get on the court as well. And knowing that Derrick Rose is willing to let the young guys grow and step in when needed. That's it. It's nothing about his play. We know that he is, when healthy, he can still be a very, 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 very good player in this basketball league. And then JC said, yeah, talking about the guy that commented on your show, yeah, because y'all are trying to make him the water boy.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. I don't even like saying stuff like that, but would you rather us utilize Derrick Rose to the max, right? Like, and I won't even say a 50-50 split. Let's say 28 and 20 minutes between him and Brunson at the point guard position to start the season, and we start the season and let's just say, hypothetical, we 10 games over 500 at the break. And we got a cushion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, Derrick Rose got to take some time. I'll say time off. You know what I mean? So I don't got to say no bad stuff. And now we got to maintain that down the stretch. Or let's say we 500 come to break, and now we could up the usage of Rose down the stretch and try to, climb for some type of positioning or whatever. Because that's the way I'm looking at it. And I think I'd much rather have Rose down the stretch than try to maintain without him because he's unavailable.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes with Derrick Rose, man. We're not trying to make him the water boy. How many water boys walk around with no shirt on? Come on, man. What you talking about? Let me get to the caller. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yo, it's JJ from Brooklyn. What's going on?
JJ.
How you guys doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning rocking with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm watching the Lakers get washed by the Warriors right now. Man, they're bad.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, but yeah, man, excited, man. The next season's kicking off tomorrow. Well, I guess tonight.
Today, yeah.
But definitely looking forward to it, man. Big time.
You said say that again?
I'm definitely looking forward to it big time, man. The thing that's just, it stinks Grimes is out because, we talk about the steps that we have, right? But you lose somebody like Grimes and then say Cam and Quickley perform like they did in preseason, then it's like, man, the depth could, you know what I'm saying? Like it could look shaky before you know it. So depth can only last so long. You know what I mean? A couple injuries, a couple of guys playing ineffective. All of a sudden, it's like, shoot, you
Right.
know. So we
Right. You there, JJ?
15 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
So he's the thing with Cam, man. That's just so frustrating. The talent's there, obviously. That's not in question. But to me, what I see with him is his shot selection is just it's pretty bad. It's terrific, honestly. Like he takes these long
All right. Looks like JJ, call back. Do me a favor and call back. It looks like we lost your connection. So call back, JJ. And anyone that wants to call 516-362-5212. Sound like maybe he was in his man cave watching the Lakers, and maybe the reception isn't that good down there. But JJ, we lost you. Give us a call back. But Derrick Rose, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see what happens with Derrick Rose. We got one more guy to get to, and then we'll talk about some of the other players as well, but we don't have slides for him. All right. Isaiah Hartenstein. He averaged 4.8 points per game, 8 rebounds. Gotta love the 8 rebounds. 8 rebounds a game for Hartenstein, 2 assists. For all the shooting we talk about, he shot 36.8% from the field and 27.3% from three, 100% from the free throw line. All right. Look, we all talked about it plenty of times. We like what he has the potential to bring in that second unit as far as passing, right? Being able to pass from the mid post, from the high post. You know what I mean? His ability to knock down a three. He's got to start to shoot when he gets open shots. You know what I mean? Because he'll get an open shot. If it's not from the three-point line, he won't pull it. We did see in game 1, maybe he went to the basket, I think. But he's got to start to pull those shots when they're open. Those mid-range elbow jumpers. You know what I'm saying? Because when he gets the ball at the elbow and guys are rotating around him, cutting to the basket, and he's making those passes, pretty soon defenses are going to say, okay, we got to cut off these passes. We've seen it. Guys drop back off of Hartenstein, but he won't shoot it. When guys drop back off of him, he's got to shoot that mid-range. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure the coaching staff is telling him that, though. 8 rebounds. Definitely happy about those 8 rebounds per game, especially because he's playing, it's not like he's playing 25 minutes while he's out there. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah Hartenstein is playing 20.8 minutes per game, grabbing 8 rebounds in those 20.8 minutes. All right, that's pretty good. No doubt in my mind that if he was a starting center, he would average 10 or 11 rebounds per game. Would he score in double digits? Who knows? But he would average 10 or 11 rebounds per game if he was a starting center. And who knows? He could do that with the Knicks this year. I think he probably stays around 8, though. But it's the mid-range shooting that I would like to see him improve on when the season begins. And I guess I have a question for you, Tony, and everybody else. With him shooting, he only took like 33s last year, but he's shown that he has the ability to shoot them. With him taking more threes, because I think he's going to take over 100 threes this year. With him taking more threes, do you think maybe he is just a 27% shooter, or do you think it gets better?
I think he shoots over 200 threes this year.
Okay.
82 games in the season. I think he's going to shoot more than two threes a game. So, if you give him 2.5 per game, that's over 200.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm figuring there'll be some games that he doesn't, maybe he doesn't attempt a three. There may be some games that he's out. But nah, I feel you. He could get up to that point.
yeah. I think he's gonna. I think that's gonna be a staple. He's gonna be encouraged to shoot him from Tibbs or from the from the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, good question. 20. You said is the higher volume Well, I think the volume is gonna bring the percentage down. Like he shot something crazy last year, right? 50 something or 48, something crazy,
I'm not
right? Like
exactly sure what it
16 for
was, but he
30
I
something.
think he
How
shot a
many you
high
say he
percentage.
put up?
I think he only took like 33s or something like that.
33s. I think he hit 14 of them, either
Okay.
14 or 16 of them. You know what I mean? So so either way, yeah, I think the percentage ain't gonna be 48%, but um,
He shot 38. Well, for his career, he shoots 38.3% from three. And last season, Hartenstein, last season, 21-22, he shot 46.7% from three.
46. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be 46, 47, but I'll give him 30, 35, 36. You know what I mean? 38 even with his career
I mean,
averages.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
So I think it's a part of his offense. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not something that he's just worked on. It's really about role. And here it's gonna be utilized. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um I think other places it was, not to be funny, but it was a situational thing. So, you know what I mean? If you in that situation where you need to shoot it, or but it's not gonna be a staple. I think now it'll be a staple.
It'd be more of a staple. I agree 100%. It's going to be more of a staple for him to shoot in this offense. Um, and, the thing with him, he's only 25 years old. He's got some time to grow as a basketball player, too. You know what I mean? And, we'll see where he goes. One day he may be a starter in this league. Will it be with the Knicks? I don't know. The Knicks are sold on Mitchell Robinson and what he brings. But one day he may be a starter in this league. If I'm the Knicks, I'd like to, if he continues to grow and develop and get better, I'd like to keep him around for a little while as a bench player.
What I like about him more than, I mean, what I like about him most is he's a skilled big, but he's a hustle big as well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of it is hustle, and he's skilled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he don't. You know what I mean? He works hard. He's the guy that's gonna dive. He's the guy that's gonna fight for that rebound.
Right.
You know what I mean? Get that jump ball, because he ain't trying to let that rebound go.
Yeah. Jay Williams said that field goal percentage for a center is a problem. Do you agree with that? You think that's a problem? Because, what was it, 30 something percent? His field goal percentage?
I mean, he's a
36
center,
point,
but
36.8%.
he's a center, but he's not a back to the basket, or like he could do a back to the basket move. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I think on this team, the way he hustles, I think he'll get easier buckets. I think he won't have to hustle to get that bucket. You know what I mean? I think the buckets are gonna be easier. And part of that is the fact that what he's shooting at for three in the preseason?
27,
20,
27.3.
like that's part of the reason. You know what I mean? That 3-point shot go up to what I think it'll average that
Right.
in his,
And,
you know what I mean?
I think when you look at it, he's probably attempted more threes in the preseason than he has twos.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let me see. He's attempted in the preseason, so he's attempting 4.8 field goals per game, and 2.8 of them are threes. So he hasn't really gotten the ball in position to score down low or
Mm-hmm.
anything. He won't shoot the mid-range shot. So let's see how it progresses with him.
Yeah, that'll shoot up. He ain't gonna shoot that low unless he's only shooting threes.
Right,
You know what I mean? And then he got to find his rhythm. Yeah,
right, right. What are you projecting for him?
on the second unit, I'm gonna give him. I'm gonna give him those 8 rebounds. I think that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do that. I'm gonna give him four assists. I'm gonna give him 4 assists.
Mm.
I think he's gonna have a 10 assist game for us this year. if not more than one.
I could see that happening. Without a doubt, I
Or
could see that happening.
points, I think he's gonna make 2 a game.
He's gonna make
Two, two,
make
two, two,
two threes a game.
yeah,
So you think he's gonna attempt 5 then?
yeah.
Whew. He could.
I think he's gonna shoot more threes than twos on this team.
Okay. All right.
I really do.
I mean, I think
So
I think he can
I'll give him 7 points.
7 points a game.
Yep.
All
I
right.
might even say 8. I'll
All
give
right.
him 2 threes, a field goal, and a free throw.
See, I think he's gonna average about 2 3-point attempts per game.
Attempts.
Yeah, attempts. I think he's gonna average about 2 per game and probably make like 0.8. I mean, I'm sorry, 1.2, 1.3. I don't know, something like that. Whatever it is, the average is out to about 38%. Because I think that's where he probably ends up shooting on the season is like 38%. Maybe later in the season when he's more comfortable and everyone is more comfortable is when you see that those 3-point
Okay.
attempts go up.
So maybe not average, but it's gonna be a stretch down the stretch. Down the stretch. I'll give him 5 a game. He's gonna shoot and make 2. But I think it'll still all right. It'll average out to like 3 a game. I'll give him 3 threes a game attempted.
Yeah, I mean,
Make it right.
and that's even if he's doing 3, that's pretty good. You know what I'm saying? That's a good number of attempts. You know what I mean? And then if he's making what 38% of them, that's good scoring output from him. And
That's like 1.1, right? 1 would be 33%, right?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that, like 1.1 makes or something like that. You know what I mean? So iHeart's gonna bring that dimension. We talk about it all the time. He's gonna bring another dimension to way that they play. But what happens with Jericho Sims though? That's the question that I've just continued to have with iHeart because with iHeart being here, because Jericho Sims he's a good basketball player. He's a replica of Mitch, kinda, but he's still a good basketball player, and
he's solid.
He's solid.
Yeah.
He can rebound. You know what I mean? He sets good screens. He does some good things out there on the floor, but you can't play everybody.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing though. I hope, being that he's somewhat of a replica of Mitch, I hope he can really pick Hartenstein's brain and kind of pick up some of those skill sets, because that'll change the whole dynamic of Sims. Because I think he's a quicker learner than Mitch, and Mitch is my guy. Stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just. It's an observation.
Right.
I think he picks up on things quicker. You know what I mean? But part of that is the 4 years in college, right? You know what I mean? Like the like you said, Mitch hasn't really been coached into the NBA.
Right.
So
yeah, fortunately, you and I and Steph, we'll be going and checking out a lot of the Westchester Knicks games this season in between those Knicks games. So we may get to see a lot of Jericho Sims. And for you fine people out there, we'll actually be giving away some tickets to the Westchester Knicks. And the tickets that we're giving away, ladies and gentlemen, are right behind the Knicks bench. And when I say right behind, I mean literally, they may toss the towel behind you and it hits you in the face. All right? Right behind the Knicks bench. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be doing some giveaways, giving away some of the Westchester Knicks tickets. We're actually working on a nice little partnership with the Westchester Knicks to do some podcasting at the arena and some different things. So be on the lookout for that, ladies and gentlemen. That should be pretty fun, pretty dope. And if you're into the Westchester Knicks a little bit, we're looking to start a show right here on the channel about the Westchester Knicks. We'll even do some group outings there. So that should be pretty dope. It just popped in my mind. I know we're talking about Isaiah Hartenstein, but it just popped in my mind. You know what I mean?
Well, Sims,
So I want to
we
talk
was
about it.
kind of talking about Sims a little bit, and that's where it came from.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But, it is a little bit of a conundrum, but he's on a 2-year contract. You know what I mean? Sims is on a contract with the New York Knicks as well. I do think, in a couple of years, the Knicks will have to look at it and say, all right, what do we do here? You know what I mean? You'll see how Hartenstein is playing, and then you see what Sims can do. Obviously, Hartenstein brings something different than Sims, but this year, though, it's going to be Hartenstein playing over Sims. We know that. But at some point, one of these two guys, Mitch or Hartenstein, will go out and Sims will get his chance.
Hey, Sims 3-point shot looked good in that open practice.
It did. He's working on it. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to put the ball on the floor. You know what I mean? So, we'll see where that goes with Sims. But ladies and gentlemen, that kind of concludes most of our players, a few stragglers that we'll talk about. And I know we didn't talk a lot about Quentin Grimes, so we'll get into him now. We don't have a lot of stats to talk about with Quentin Grimes because he played just one game. Right? Now, in that one game, he did play 15, 16 minutes in that one game. Right? He did not score at all in that game. He took 2 shot attempts, and they were both threes. All right, 1 rebound, 1 assist, I think 2 turnovers. All right. But we're not going to base anything on that. I'm just concerned about the injury. Do you think, Tony, and those who are listening, do you think that the Knicks, that there's something more going on with Quentin Grimes' foot than just soreness? The soreness has to stem from something. It's not sore just because it's sore.
Mm-hmm.
Has to stem from something. Are they hiding? I don't want to say hiding anything, but is there something else? Is there something else? You know what I mean? Is there something else?
I think I think, when there's smoke, there's fire. And they he played summer league. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he played through summer league, right? He didn't like miss the last game of summer league or anything or get hurt then. So, they kind of talked about that, like just giving him rest in that sense
Right.
early on. And then it was lingering. And then it came out the foot. So I don't know. I'm definitely concerned, but it's the weird thing is the whole speculation in the off season with them holding him out. You know what I mean? He's untouchable. So
Right.
that's where it really gets funny and confusing. What's going on? You know what I mean?
Right.
We heard that. Now this is going on. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. That's definitely where it gets, I guess, tricky. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe they didn't even know about it. Talking about the Knicks, right? Maybe they didn't know. Maybe he didn't know, and it just started to flare up. Whatever is wrong, maybe just started to flare up in preseason. It's very possible that that's just how it happened. It's unfortunate, without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because he's in a battle. He's in a battle with Fournier. He's in a battle with Cam.
But he looked good in the practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then he didn't look hampered in the game he played. So that you know what I mean. That's where it gets funny too. Like, so it's just, I mean, It's not like a diagnosed thing where we could be like, all right, yeah, it just flares up sometime.
I mean,
Like
I
it's
guess
just
my concern is it going to be something that we have to worry about all season long?
mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That is going to be something that hampers his career, maybe. You know what I mean? Because it's what it looks like and feels like a little bit to me. I mean, are you concerned about it being something that hampers him the entire season?
I'm not that. I mean, I think I'm concerned that it may not be. It may be something that's off and on. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? But the fact that, like I said, he looked good at the practice. He looked regular. You know what I mean? Like he didn't look hampered during the game. So I think it may just be something that flares up here and there. But I'm concerned for what that does for even his opportunity
Right.
because you know what I mean that hurts your reliability, hurts your chances of being stable in the rotation. You're not gonna keep your role if you hear a game out to hear a game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Do you? What are your expectations for Quentin Grimes this season?
I mean, I like his role as is from last year,
Mm-hmm.
where you know what I mean, kind of just be that steady defender where you make guys work for whatever they're getting, whether it's a layup or a shot. You know what I mean? You tough defender and then hit threes. You know what I mean? Hit your open shots. I want him aggressive. I want him to be an aggressive shooter more than I want him to expand into the playmaking role. Like not saying don't do it. You know what I mean? If you can make a play, make a play. I don't want him kind of transitioning
Trying to
exactly
force his way into being a playmaker, right?
a
Just
playmaker. There you go.
just do what's natural, and then if it comes along, it comes along.
Yes.
Nah, I'm with that 100%. You know what I mean? Because when you start forcing stuff, that's when it starts going bad, right? That's when the mistakes begin to set in because you're forcing instead of just playing. I mean, so
I mean,
yeah, I agree 100%.
even in the summer league,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? It was nice to see him play make and do all that extra stuff, but it also was very inefficient, right? So me seeing that is why I say like if he was out there shooting 46%, you know what I mean, and 40% from three, and then I'd be like, oh, now we on to something.
Right.
The fact that I'm just like, all right, we know you capable of playmaking. Like, let it come out when it's natural, when it's there, but don't try to play make all the time. And you know what I mean. I like him better making them quick decisions, them quick
Yeah.
pop passes. You know what I mean. Quick shot, boom. Like I think he can thrive there.
Yeah. And that's what you got to do when you're a player in the league. Find out where you thrive, find out where you fit, and then expand. You know what I'm saying? Be comfortable in your fit and then expand. And that's where Mitchell Robinson, if he's comfortable with who he is right now there's a better chance that he can expand because he just gets comfortable on the floor and what he does. And then little by little, you expand your game. Same thing with Quentin Grimes. Be comfortable with who you are and then expand your game little by little. Miles McBride, right? I've been saying, and I hate to use the word groom nowadays because grooming it almost sounds like a bad word now, right? But is he being groomed to take Derrick Rose's spot? I kind of think he is. You know what I mean? And, knowing that Derrick Rose next year, the Knicks would have to, or at the end of the season, the Knicks have to make a decision. Do we pick up his team option? or pick up his option, or do we let him go to another team, or do we not pick up the option and re-sign him for something cheaper if he's willing to stay, whatever. You know what I mean? But Derrick Rose, you got to start looking for that successor to step into that spot. Right now, it looks like that's Deuce's spot to step into. You know what I mean? Do you think that Deuce is going to be the guy that steps in? We talked about it, I think, on your show the other day, that maybe with Deuce, it's kind of like he is being groomed for that spot, and he's the understudy of Derrick Rose. When Derrick Rose is not playing, Deuce steps in and he gets those minutes, with Derrick Rose kind of coaching him on the side, as long as he's, can be on the sideline. He's not, recovering or anything like that. When Derrick Rose coaches him up while he's on the sidelines. You know what I mean? Showing him different things to watch for when he's on the floor, et cetera, et cetera. The whole thing that those guys do. Those OG players do. You know what I mean? What do you think, Tone?
I do think he's being mentored or developed, groomed to
Yeah, those are better words. Mentor, developed, groomed. You know what I mean? It's, nowadays, it gives you the chills. Like, what you mean grooming them? You know what I mean?
Prepared.
Prepared. Yeah.
I think he is. What I love about Grimes is a couple things.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem wavered. You know what I mean? Good game, bad game.
Solid.
You know what I mean? Like he's never looking at the bench because of a decision.
Right. Maybe
that's from starting from the bottom. You know what I mean? Starting from the bottom, you kind of everything is up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's really no reason to look back or look at the bench or worry about if I'm having a good game. It's really about, I just got to keep getting better. I got to get better. I got to earn my way to this position. And he always seems confident. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though he don't shoot the three well, he's never scared to shoot it. He don't hesitate to shoot it. If the guy goes under the screen, he's pulling up. You know what I mean? So guys like that, I think they'll be ready when their time comes.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's this year, you know what I mean? But yeah, next year he might be ready for a leap.
Yeah. Miles McBride, 16 minutes in the preseason. That's what he averaged per game. He shot 33% from the field. He shot 30% from the three-point line. He came into the league and people thought he was a shooter. He's got to prove it. He's got to start knocking down some of those shots. You know what I'm saying? He's got to. That's going to be, I think, one of the factors in him stepping in. Can he knock down those shots? It's going to be one of those factors. You know what I mean? He's got to start knocking down shots. It's hard to... His defense, I guess, I was going to say it's hard to justify putting him out there if he's not hitting shots, but his defense, I think, does justify putting him on the floor, even if he's not hitting shots.
Or at least can. You know what I mean? Like when he's on it, yeah, it could justify it. If he's not, because this is, you know what I mean? Like, there's times he's not an effective defender. You know what I mean? Like his skill set, or you know what I mean? There's some guys that has challenges with guarding. You know what I mean? But there's some guys that he's super effective with.
Right.
And he becomes a pest for.
Right.
So
yeah. Let me get to a phone call real quick. All right. And then I'm going to start breaking down the season. Unless there's some other players that you really want to go over and talk about. We got Feron Hunt out there. You got Trevor Keels. Both of those guys are going to be playing in the G League for good portions of the season. They may come in, step up to the big boy league if there's injuries or whatever it is. But for the most part, those guys are going to be in the G League. we'll get a chance to see him on Westchester, though.
I was just gonna say he's probably the guy I'm most excited to look at when or to analyze.
Who, Hunt?
Yeah, when we go to
Yeah.
Westchester, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, like, and he's the guy that he may be the guy when we talked about extending or re-signing Cam. He may be the guy they're looking at saying, all right, let's evaluate this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can we bring this guy in at this number rather than
Rather than
re-signing
it.
Cam at
Exactly.
this number?
Exactly.
So
Yeah, because he's been, well, they picked him up last year. Was it last year? But they seem to be, they seem to like him.
mhm.
They seem to like him. Yeah. Let me get to this caller right quick. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hi, this is Omar from Portland, and I'm a big fan of your show, guys. And I've been watching all your live and other videos that you put there on YouTube. I
Appreciate you,
just want
man.
to say that most of us Knicks fan are like overrated the players that we have. Like, if you look at the rest of the other teams, like Golden State, they're going to pay like $400 million luxury tax this year.
Mm.
So, if imagine, how many years that as a Knicks fan we have to wait, like maybe another 10 years just to get to that level of competing, for a championship. And if there is any chance. So I like what the Golden State did. They win the championship. Their stars get hurt. They went all the way to the bottom. So they get those lottery pick. And now those lottery pick, they can actually be the stars. They don't need to play like their main superstars, the entire season. They can wait, let them sit like for a few games until when they get to the real games, then
The difference is they
all of
got
them
the
they stay healthy. They
championship.
got to go like for three championships.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at, a lot of people talk about Golden State and talk about the way that they built their team, and I think the Knicks are kind of on that same trajectory in building their team. I'm not saying that the Knicks are championship level and that this squad is definitely going to lead them to a championship. But look, R.J. Barrett, drafted by the New York Knicks, his 4th season. Mitchell Robinson, drafted by the New York Knicks, his 4th season with R.J. Barrett. Julius Randle was signed in R.J. Barrett's rookie year, so now that's his 4th year with R.J. Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Quentin Grimes, drafted by the Knicks, 2nd season. Obi Toppin, Immanuel Quickley, drafted by the Knicks, 3rd season. Right? So...
Yeah, but but if you look at their talent, and skills, comparing them to Kuminga or Jordan Poole or or Weissman, we don't see that like really superstar.
Well, I guess here's the thing. Golden State, I don't want to say they got lucky. They had injuries and they, they got a good draft pick, so they were able to, bring in some players. Jordan Poole, he had his time in the G League, if I remember right. He was in the G a little bit, so, he had some time to develop and they grew him. And hopefully we're doing the same thing with some of our guys that we have in the G League or guys that's on our team that are growing. And it took some time for him to develop, maybe to take some time for our guys too as well. We'll see.
Yeah, we're not at the same stage as they are.
The funny story is I moved to Portland like 4 years ago, and Carmelo Anthony was here with the Portland Trail Blazers. I was like, oh my God, really? Okay.
Yeah. Is it nice? I've never been to Portland. Is it nice out there? You like it?
it is nice, that like the landscape, the nature, it's all green, and you know people are more laid back, and like
Yeah.
not like in New York. I lived in New York for like 16 years, so I miss the food, I miss the culture, and for me, to be honest with you, I'm a mixed. I'm black, and my my mom is actually from Morocco, and my dad is black, from New York.
Mm-hmm.
So when there's no black people, there's no culture. So there is no music here or anything else. It's just boring, like hiking things, whatever they do.
Okay.
Here,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
I guess that's
it's
Better
beautiful.
better get that Dame album.
yeah. I guess it's a learning experience, man. It's a learning experience out there. But hey, my man, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for following the
Thank you
show and
so
calling
much.
in.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
you, my man.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen. You see on the screen. I appreciate it. Calling in from Portland. Appreciate it. You see on the screen, we got the Knicks schedule. All right, so I want to take a look at the schedule. We don't have to go through the entire thing, Tony. We've already been on for 2 hours and 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? 1:30 in the morning. But I do want to take a look at the schedule really quick. And based on what you're seeing in the preseason, I want to know what you think about the schedule. Right? Game 1 tomorrow, we play Memphis. Before the preseason, and we looked at the schedule, we kind of wrote that off as a loss. Most of us did. I did. How do you see it now?
I think we win. I mean, it's a good test. I'll tell you that. It's a good test right off the bat. Does Brunson guard? Does Brunson guard Morant? Do we kind of? I mean, they have some shorter guys on their teams
Mm-hmm.
where I think we don't have to put Brunson on them.
Mm-hmm.
Brunson could maybe guard a Bane. You know what I mean? Who's not super tall, or even I mean, Dylan Brooks is strong, but he's not a super tall guy either. So I think we could kind of mix it up on the defensive end,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully it's a good scheme to stop him. We got to guard the three. Like I mentioned, Desmond Bain could shoot. I think it's a test for Mitch. You know what I mean? With Adam's strength and I guess veteran savvy.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think we have an advantage at the 4 right now. So it's gonna be interesting on how much Randle can utilize him, like how much he's utilized, and is it right off the bat? He sees the mismatch. It's my night. You know what I mean? Or is it within the? You know what I mean? Like, is Brunson feeding him because he sees the mismatch? I mean, it's gonna be great, but I think we could win this game.
Yeah.
I think we could
I
win this
love it,
game.
man, because this is when all the strategizing begins. You know what I mean? All the strategy starts right now. As far as just all the strategy starts. Like you said, who guards Ja Morant? Right? How do you take the ball out of his hands early? You know what I mean? By doing a half court trap or whatever it is. So many different things to think about. I love it. We're going to talk about it tomorrow on the game preview. So make sure you're popping off with us, ladies and gentlemen. All right. The Knicks play the Pistons at the home opener. Of course, we're going to be there. Make sure you're there with us, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Make sure you are there. It's going to be dope. The home opener. We're doing a live podcast, live game preview at Legends, right down the street from the Garden, right, from 3:30 to 5:30. So please make sure that you are there. All right, it's open, it's free. come on in and join us from 3:30 to 5:30. You can watch the game at Legends. You can go home and watch the game, whatever it is. Obviously, we'll be streaming it too. All right, and then if you watch the game at Legends, we'll be back to do the post-game show at Legends. So join us for the post-game show. And we'll just be chilling, drinking, talking, having a good time. Make sure you join us, ladies and gentlemen. I'll put the address in the description of the video so that you can know where to go. But there'll be a flyer going around because we want people to be there. All right? That's the home opener. The Detroit Pistons, I got the Knicks winning that game. Then they play the Orlando Magic and the Charlotte Hornets. I think they should win both of those games. First 4 games, is it possible Knicks go 4-0? What you think, Tony?
I think so. I mean, at the worst, 3-1 at the worst. But I think getting this first one, I want to do one game at a time. I think that's gonna be my thing this year. One game at a time.
I dig it.
I dig it. So I mean, I'll be with you with the with the projections and everything, but I'm a preference. One game at a time.
I'm with you. One game at a time.
And that first game could be a good confident booster to really set off this season and see, you know what I mean, what we could do.
Right. Without a doubt. Kerry Cox said, if you rent out a suite, can you do a podcast from there? Actually, we've done that before. We have. It's just, the prices of the suites have gone up tremendously. You know what I mean? And we're trying to keep the prices affordable for people. You know what I mean? The tickets this year to go to the home opener with us was $165. You get a suite, it jumps up to $265 right off top, and your view isn't even as good as the seats that we got now. So there's benefits to having a suite though.
It's definitely benefits to both.
Yeah, benefits to both. Now, after that Charlotte Hornets game, this is when the schedule starts to get a little bit tough. I don't even want to say a little bit tough. It gets a lot tough. You know what I'm saying? They play the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, who now have that man, Donovan Mitchell. Right? So that almost turns into, for the fans, it almost turns into a rival game. You know what I'm saying? The Atlanta Hawks, who they just picked up DeJounte Murray. They got Trae Young. That's another guy, rival guy. That's a home game, too. And then the Philadelphia 76ers. 4 playoff teams right there. So in the first 8 games, the Knicks play 5 playoff teams. In the first 8 games. Right?
One game at a time, but 7-2.
7-2? Okay.
I mean, 6-2, excuse me.
6-2. Man, it's tough. I think that the Knicks can beat Atlanta. They might just be mad at Cleveland, not because they didn't get Donovan Mitchell, but just because Donovan Mitchell was there and so many guys were mentioned in the trade. They might be like, yo, we're going to show everybody that.
And he might think he playing for us.
So maybe they get that one too. Okay, I could take 6-2. I could take 6-2. Milwaukee and Philadelphia, those are 2 really tough games for the Knicks, I think. The matchups aren't good, especially with Philadelphia. So we're looking at 6-2 in the first 8 games. And then you got Philadelphia, Minnesota, Brooklyn, and Detroit one more time. I mean, when you look at that schedule, I don't know what Minnesota's going to be like. Presumably they got better, right? By picking up Rudy Gobert.
Mm.
I mean, look, that's 3 more playoff teams, though. Boston, Minnesota, Brooklyn, 3 playoff teams right there. Brooklyn should be good. Boston, even though they're going through everything that they're going through, they're still going to be a good basketball team.
Had a good one tonight.
Yeah, they're still going to be a good basketball team. I see Anthony D said, how about 3-5? Come on, man. You don't have no faith in your guys out there? Have some faith. I think Anthony is one of those guys that I'm gonna look at the worst. That way my feelings can't get hurt. I'm not gonna look and see. I think he sees that this team could be a decent basketball team, but I don't think he wants to see it. I think he's just like, I'm gonna be careful. I got this big piece of plastic around my heart for the New York Knicks. That plastic is orange and blue, but it's still some plastic around my heart. He ain't ready to peel it off yet. I get it.
Scared to get hurt. I know.
Yeah, I dig it, Anthony. I dig it, AD. I get it.
My channel's Knicks and Bruises, so I could deal with it if I'm wrong.
You know, I think the Knicks in this stretch could go 2-2 or maybe 3-1. I think they should beat Detroit. I think Boston could be a team that maybe they catch early. But I'm gonna say 2-2. I'm gonna say 2-2 right here. So if they were 6-2 over the first 8, now you're looking at them being 8-4.
I'll go 7-5 because I don't think we beat Boston. Not this first one.
Okay.
I think Boston, even though we catapulted their season last year, they hit such a low when RJ got that buzzer beater on them that they just turned the whole season around. I think they still want to kind of, get revenge on that one.
Yeah. Go down some more. Then you got OKC, Utah, Denver, Golden State. I think the Knicks get OKC and Utah. Probably lose to Denver and Golden State. I don't like to match up with either one of those teams. I mean, that's two teams that play a similar type of game, and I just don't. Yeah, the Knicks just don't match up with those guys. I'm not, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going through the whole thing to keep count of all the wins and losses right now. I'm just kind of looking at the schedule. You know what I mean? This 4-game stretch here, I would say the Knicks are 2-2. With what I had, I guess that would make them 10-6. All right, 4 more games. Phoenix, OKC, Portland. My man just called in from Portland. Just the first 20 games, though, Tony, where do you have the Knicks? Just looking at our schedule over the first 20 games, it's a tough schedule.
12-8.
12-8 over the first 20. I think we're going to be closer to 500 over the first 20 games. The initial stretch of games is definitely tough for the Knicks, right? Beginning after that Charlotte game is Milwaukee, Cleveland, Atlanta, Philadelphia, Boston, Minnesota, Brooklyn. That's a tough schedule right there. Can the Knicks survive that stretch? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 really, really tough games in a row. And this could be an area where, these stretch of games.
Make it right too. Hold on.
Get my man muted real quick until I call him. These stretch of games in the beginning of the season could tell the story of the New York Knicks. Right? After they get past, then there's another tough stretch. This road trip is pretty tough. Utah no longer is, we expect no longer is going to be a tough game. But then Denver, when we first looked at the schedule, that was a tough game. It was Utah, Denver, Golden State, and Phoenix. That was a super tough stretch. Now it's still a tough stretch. We don't know what Utah is going to be like, but Denver, Golden State, and Phoenix, definitely a tough stretch. You hit OKC and Portland. Then you got Memphis, then Detroit, right? So you get a bit of a break there. Then you come back to home and you play Milwaukee, Dallas, Cleveland, and Atlanta. That's a tough 4-game stretch right there. You know what I mean? That the Knicks got to figure out what to do with that stretch. Be able to win. Dallas is going to be, they might be a little bit motivated. Obviously, the Knicks going to want to win that game for Jalen Brunson. They're at home. But that's a tough 4-game stretch. Then you hit a stretch. Charlotte. This is December. Charlotte, Sacramento, Chicago, Indiana, Golden State, Toronto, and then Chicago. You play Chicago in like 3 times in like 2 weeks. I don't like that, but, you got to do what you got to do. This is a, so-so stretch for me. You know what I mean? Charlotte, Sacramento, Chicago, Indiana. Golden State's the toughest, obviously. Toronto's a tough game. Then Chicago again. Who knows what Chicago's going to be like at this point, with their injuries and stuff like that. Then on Christmas, the Knicks play the 76ers, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that should be an exciting game. Then they play Dallas away. Then they play San Antonio and Rockets. So they hit that little Texas swing. Come back home. They play Phoenix. And then they play San Antonio again. And Toronto, Milwaukee, Indiana. Looking at the schedule now and the way things have panned out in the preseason, it's not as bad as when I was looking at it before the season. Friday, January 13th, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks play the Washington Wizards in Washington, D.C., and we are planning to do an event there. Obviously, I live right down the street, so we're planning to do an event. Do me a favor. In the comment section right now, if you're interested in joining us, just write yes in the comment section, in the chat. Just write yes. If you live in Washington, D.C., or you're close, just write yes. You can, if you're comfortable, you know what? I'll put my email in the chat, and if you're comfortable, you can email me. You know what I'm saying? So I can know who will want to attend this as we start making the plans. We're gonna do something similar that we're doing to with the home opener with this game here. So let me know. I'm gonna put my email in the chat shortly. Okay. Then you got the Detroit Pistons, the Toronto Raptors, and then the Wizards one more time at home, right? So this is a kind of a soft stretch for the Knicks right here. Beginning with this, actually, after the Dallas game, San Antonio, Houston, then Phoenix, then San Antonio again. Toronto's tough, Milwaukee's tough, Indiana's kind of soft, the Wizards kind of soft, Detroit, you hit the Raptors again, but that's winnable. Those Raptors games are winnable. And then the Wizards again. So that's a soft stretch for the Knicks after the new year. Right? Then Atlanta. And then how many times did we play Toronto? Jeez. Right? Atlanta, Toronto.
It's all those division games.
Yeah.
That's what they.
Yeah. And so then, after the Knicks play the Wizards on the 18th, the stretch gets a little tougher. Atlanta, Toronto, Cleveland, Boston, Brooklyn, the Lakers, Miami, the Clippers, Philadelphia. They get a break with Orlando. Then they play the 76ers again. They get a break with Utah. Then they play Brooklyn. Then Atlanta. This is a tough stretch. That's a tough stretch. I'm going to rewind that real quick. All right. Beginning Friday, January 20th. Super stretch for the Knicks. Atlanta, Toronto, Cleveland, Boston, Brooklyn, even the Lakers. They got LeBron James and AD. If they're healthy, they're playing. Even the Lakers. That's tough. Miami, the Clippers, Philadelphia, Orlando, soft team. Philadelphia, Utah, soft team. Now, Brooklyn, Atlanta, then the Wizards. Kind of a break. Maybe a soft team, though. Who knows what they're going to be like. Then New Orleans, tough. Then Boston, then Brooklyn, then Miami, then Boston again. Ladies and gentlemen, that stretch from January 20th to March 5th is a killer. That is a killer stretch, and I think that's going to be the stretch that defines the Knicks season. What do you think, Tone?
What's the dates again?
January 20th to March 5th. It's a killer stretch. I think that's going to be what defines the Knicks season.
The good thing is that's when RJ turns it on. So
I hope so.
I mean, he not saying he ain't gonna be on from the beginning, but you know what I mean. That's when he elevates.
Yeah, I hope so. You know what I mean? Listen, when I talked about RJ earlier, when we were going over the players, I said, I want RJ to get off to a hot start, but you get off to a hot start, I don't want him thinking, okay, now where am I? Now I'm going to elevate it even higher, because sometimes you take a dip too, right? Like the season is about waves, ups and downs. You know what I mean? But this is a tough stretch. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, just to look at this stretch. I mean, it's super duper brutal. The Knicks got to survive it, man. After they play the Wizards on January the 18th, and this is kind of after a soft stretch in their schedule. But after they play,
capitalize.
Yeah, after they play the Wizards on the 18th, it's Atlanta, Toronto. They play Toronto in the middle of that soft schedule, but Atlanta, Toronto, Cleveland, Boston, Brooklyn, the Lakers, Miami, the Clippers, Philadelphia, Orlando, soft game. Philadelphia, again, Utah, back before the season started, and we did this. That was a tough game. Now, presumably a soft game. Brooklyn, Atlanta, the Wizards, kind of a soft game. Then New Orleans, then Boston, then Brooklyn, then Miami, then Boston again. That's a tough stretch, man. That is a super stuff. And it really was supposed to end with Charlotte, but now things have changed in Charlotte. Right? Things have changed in Charlotte. It's a tough stretch. After that stretch, the Knicks play Charlotte and Sacramento. They get a bit of a break. Then they play the Clippers. They play the Lakers. Then they play Portland, then Denver, then Minnesota, then Miami, then Orlando, the Rockets, Miami again, Cleveland, the Wizards, the Pacers, Pelicans, and then Indiana. So the stretch is a little bit softer to finish the season. But Tony, just, looking at this schedule here, your thoughts on the season, man? And
I'm not worried.
Where the Knicks end up? Where they end up record-wise? What do you think?
I said 40. I said 43 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to waver from that. I do want to give it some time and monitor, 20 games in and kind of go back to it. So I'm going to stick with my 43. But I'm going to say this. I think there's a few teams. If this team is anything like 2 years ago, and when I say that, I'm not talking about Randle, I'm not talking about numbers, I'm talking about the way this team fought, the way this team made every game a dogfight, whether it was the Golden State Warriors or the Nuggets or Orlando. It was a dogfight every game. I think we could be pleasantly surprised. You know what I mean? All we gotta do is be in it, and you in it and have a chance at the end. Like I didn't like hearing from Tibbs like the first year and a half, but now I find myself quoting him like every day.
Quoting him, right? Yeah, no doubt. Let me get to this phone call real quick, ladies and gentlemen. And in the meantime, I want you to put what you think the Knicks what their record will be in the chat. All right, I want to know what you guys are thinking. Let me get to this call. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
What's good? Simmons AK, originally from Queens, Flushing, but I'm out here in Florida. What's up?
All right, AK, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So tell me what you
feeling? Changed the math and everything. I try to get at you.
Yeah. We changed up the number. I had to get a new provider, man, because the other one wasn't working right. So yeah, this one's better.
So you're talking about the Knicks, all right? I don't usually do predictions though.
All right.
But I I think I'm gonna throw 7 wins on top of your man Tone. He gave him for 43. I'm gonna throw 7 wins on top of that. 9 injuries, about 51 wins. If our big man don't get injured like RJ,
right?
I mean, or Brunson, I got us at 50 wins, bro. I got us 6 in the East if everything is all smooth.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you really like what you've seen in the preseason?
I gotta say, for the first time in a very long time, it actually looks a little like the Killer Bees, like Wu-Tang. Everything is moving smooth, but that's preseason. But it is looking smooth, man. I mean, I like it with the point guard. You know what I mean? I'm still up on Brunson, though, just to let you know. You know what I mean? I'm still doing my math on him.
Yeah,
they're looking good, man.
They're looking good, especially that first unit.
Definitely.
Yes.
You say Mobb Deep. I think Mobb Deep is deeper.
They are. They are. It looks like they're trying to find some time to, they got to gel a little bit, but they are deeper.
Definitely.
They're definitely deeper.
Definitely.
I mean, so much deep that the Knicks could pull their 11th man off the bench and still be productive.
That's what I was looking at.
You know what I mean?
About
I can't remember the last time we was this deep.
yeah. Talk about Cam. We'll talk about Cam, Tony. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Your man acting up. I don't know. We might have to get traded and get some picks or something for him. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I like Cam too. But
I like him too, man. I'm hoping he comes through and is able to do something.
Yeah, definitely. What record you got, though, Sam?
I got him between 43 and 45 wins. Off the strength of right now, that's what I got him with. We'll see where the season falls. There's going to be some teams that fall out, I think.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I got them, and so it could be possible if they continue to get better, they stay healthy. That's going to be a big key for them to stay healthy.
That's a big key.
Then maybe they can, go above that, beyond that.
Let me ask you a quick question. I know you about to jump up like 2 in the morning. The defense, you don't think it'd be much? I think the defense would be much better than it was the last 2 seasons. I'm seeing us back in that 3, 4.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because I missed the whole section of Knicks preseason team stats that I meant to go over. So I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna go over that. So when people watch it, they're gonna have to get the predictions and then go backwards and get the stats.
Yeah,
glad you brought that up
definitely.
though. Yeah. But I think the Knicks defense is going to be good. I do. I know they gave up some, their perimeter defense was a little bit weaker than I wanted it to be, but I think they're going to shore it up and figure out a way to fix that. I think it's going to be good. Yeah.
I think so too. Who makes you be surprised, Knicks fans?
You know what I'm saying? But AK, man, I appreciate your time, bro.
World.
Yeah, no doubt, brother. Yo, Tone, yo, Black is time. That's what's up. I like that saying. Yo, Sim, my man.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yo, have a good night.
Have a good one,
blessings.
Man. Peace.
100.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad AK brought that up. Let me rewind just a little bit, and this will be quick. I ain't gonna be all night with it, ladies and gentlemen, because I know. Well, some of y'all, you're up, so I guess y'all are at work. But just looking at some of the stats that the Knicks had over the preseason, and we could talk quickly about this, Tony. They averaged 113.3 points per game, 50 rebounds a game, right? We talked about them being a good rebounding team. That's a decent number, 50 rebounds a game. I think one of them is skewed. One night they had like 66 boards or something like that. So it could be skewed a little bit. But with Randle, with Mitch, with Hartenstein, RJ, I think they should be a good rebounding team. 25.3 assists for the Knicks. 13.5 turnovers per game. I don't know why I put the B there. It's supposed to be TOV, not TOB. if you do a lot of typing, the B is right next to the V, ladies and gentlemen. But 13.5 turnovers per game, 8.5 steals, 6.3 blocks. Right? They shot 43.6% from the field, 38.3% from the three-point line, and 82.1% from the free throw line. Right? But my man was talking about defense. Their defensive rating in the preseason was 99.5. That's fourth in the league. Their offensive rating was 110.8. That's seventh in the league. And then their pace was 102.38. That's 25th in the league. All right, so their pace may not have changed as much as far as getting shots up. But I think their decision-making, the decisiveness at which they're moving the basketball is different. So I don't want to look at this number and say, oh, they're still playing slow, because I don't think they're still playing slow. And this is where I always talk about pace doesn't have to do with just your shot attempts or how fast you run up and just shoot the ball in the shot clock. That's not pace to me. That's just anybody can just run up and shoot the ball. To me, pace is how quickly you make that decision. How fast is the ball moving around the perimeter when you're swinging it? How fast are guys cutting to the basket? Is it pop, 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 cut, shot? You know what I'm saying? To me, that's a better indicator of the pace at which you're playing the game. Besides just shot attempts. Tony, what do you think about these numbers?
I think a lot of them are gonna stick, especially the pace and the assists. Assists are up, right? I'm
The
pretty
assists
sure
are
they're
up.
up at 25. I think we can sustain that, and I think it's gonna be a collective. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody averages more than 6. You know what I mean? But I think we're gonna have a bunch of guys with 4, 3, 5. It's gonna add up. I hope the blocks go up. I don't know where were we ranked as far as six
As
blocks
far
a
as
game?
blocks,
Yeah,
it's a good question. Let's see where we were ranked as far as blocks.
but
I'll pull it up. Go ahead and keep going. I'll pull it
I
up.
also think we don't need to block shots as long as we affect shots,
Right.
and I think we do a good job at that. I think that's sustainable. 110 points per game we average.
Well, we average 113, but our offensive
13?
rating is 110.
Okay.
110.8 is the offensive rating.
I think at least early on, I think we're gonna average about that. I don't think we're gonna hold teams to 99, but I think 103. I'm thinking,
Okay.
but yeah,
You think the
I
Knicks?
think most of those
Okay.
numbers are gonna be sustainable.
Yeah, I think the 102.38 is 25th in the league. That's the pace I'm talking about. I'm hoping that it does go up a little bit, where we do start to get the ball up the court a little bit faster. But still, as long as they're moving that ball in the half court, that's what I'm more concerned about. As far as the blocks, the Knicks at 6.3 is 5th in the league
Mm.
in the preseason, 5th.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I still hope it goes up.
Yeah.
Let's dominate that.
Yeah. The Pacers in the preseason were at 8. The Wizards at 7.8. And obviously some of these things are skewed, you know what I mean? Because they only played 4 games in the preseason.
Yeah. And different lineups and guys,
Right. The Celtics were the top scoring team in the preseason at 124.8 points per game.
Wow.
The Knicks at 113.3 were at 13th in the league.
Do you think it's a strategy or just do you think it's a strategy that the Knicks don't usually play the upper echelons in preseason?
I'm not sure how they make the schedule or who makes the schedule. But it could be a strategy. You know what I'm saying? You notice that they rarely play teams. Every once in a while they play Brooklyn, but they rarely play teams in the division, right? Because, you're not trying to give stuff away early. And maybe it is their strategy. Maybe they're like, hey, we just want some warm-up games. We want to be able to have the freedom to tweak things, So I don't, it's tough to say. I don't know. It's tough to say. But looking at these numbers, man, I think, I think the defensive rating. I think the Knicks can stay somewhere around 4th in the league with the defensive rating. I do. I think they can stay somewhere around 4th in the league. And maybe that rating ends up, like you said, 101, 102, 103 or something like that. But, as the season goes on, I think the Knicks are going to be a top defensive team. I think their defense is just going to be better because even though we're worried about Jalen Brunson and Evan Fournier together in that backcourt not really being as good, I feel that they are smart. And that may offset them being, fast or moving their feet, things like that. And I think, if you're playing better offensively and you're a better shooting team, scoring team, you're playing a little bit faster, you force teams to have to keep up with you a little bit too. But those are the numbers, ladies and gentlemen, for the New York Knicks, the preseason stats. And I meant to go over this before we went over the schedule and did predictions. We meant to go over the stats, but, happens like that sometimes, folks. It happens like that, especially when it's 2:04 a.m. You know what I mean? And we've been on for 3.5 hours. This is like a throwback. I haven't been on for 3.5 hours in a very long time.
I hope you're not setting the standard for the season.
No, I'm not. I'm definitely not setting the standard for the season. No doubt about it. But I appreciate everybody who's on still, man. 186 people still on rocking with us. That's love, man, for real.
That's what's up.
That's definitely love. A couple of people who gave some predictions about the season. I want to take a look at that, go backwards and look at that after we went over some of these preseason stats. You know what I mean? Anthony D. surprisingly said 43 wins for the Knicks.
That's what I said.
So I'm wondering where, where's all the hostility coming from for the team? He said 43 wins, but, every time he sends a message in the chat, there's some hostility. Kept Giggles said 54-28. That'd be a beautiful season right there. Kerry Cox said 44 wins for the Knicks. He also said the whole season is rough. That's true. And he asked, with it being such a rough season, what midseason moves will Leon make? That's a good question. I think that he's definitely going to be looking. There's no doubt about it. Trying to figure out. I think a lot will depend on where the Knicks are. If the Knicks are doing good, then he might make a move to try to boost their playoff positioning. If they aren't doing that good, then, maybe he does something else. Who knows? Who knows? But, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to put my email in the chat right now. And if you're interested in going to that DC game, please. And let me tell you what, the tickets are really, really good. The prices are really good. I was looking at it today, man. And you can get 100 level seats. And they're literally 100 level seats for very, very good prices. You know what I'm saying? And, very good prices. So I put my email in the chat. Let me know. Hit me up. Tell me, I think I seen Ant D say yes, that he's interested in attending that game. You know what I mean? We're going to try to get that in the books now. We got a Martin Luther King Day already in the books too. So just be on the lookout for some of that information coming out. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've been over a lot tonight. You know, I'm going to have to go back and timestamp everything out. Maybe cut out a few things and put it out there or something like that. Because people are going to be like, dang, you expect me to look at almost 4 hours worth of, listen to 4 hours worth of info? You know what I mean? But it's a good show. Good show.
Especially, you know, we got, at least 2 shows tomorrow.
Yeah, at least 2 shows tomorrow. You know what I mean? So, word up. We got the game preview and then the post game. But ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate your time and staying up with us. It's 2:08 in the morning, you know, and everybody's still rocking with us. So we definitely appreciate that. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the game preview tomorrow, probably 3 to 3:30. In between there, just look for the notification. All right. And then after the game tomorrow night, I'll be doing a post-game show. And then the next morning, I'm on my way up top. You know what I mean? Start getting ready for this, start getting ready for the home opener and all that. You know, so yeah, that's I'm ready for it.
Season's here.
It's here, baby. It's here. I can't wait for tomorrow night, man. Season is here. I know everybody's going to be amped. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up out of here. Again, we appreciate your time. Remember, 3:30 to 5:30, Legends NYC on Friday. Make sure you join us. A live podcast. It's a game preview, but it's a live podcast. There'll be a bunch of Knick content creators there. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you come out, join us, have a good time, stay at Legends, watch the game, because we'll be coming back for the post-game show. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, without a doubt. Tony, any last words before we get out of here?
Appreciate you, Sim. Let's go, Knicks. Your blackest time.
Let's get it,
Shout out
ladies
to
and
the
gentlemen.
strap.
Peace.
This is MBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Knick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.